everyone. Welcome to the Dropped Frames. It's Sunday. We got another show for you. Rami's going to be joining us. Rami Ismail, that is. Will be joining us a little bit later. Time zones, and also he's probably, to be honest, I was surprised that he agreed to be on the show as we're frozen for some reason. There we go. I was surprised that he was
just me.
going to come on the show because he's been pretty busy with this Unity stuff. He's been taking a lot of meetings and kind of being a fairly centralized vocal point for all of that. So we'll have him join us when he can, and I'll keep an eye on that.
I was talking to my lady about it. I was like, "Yeah, Rami's going to be on. He's been talking a lot about it lately. I wonder if he'll have more to say." Oh, never mind. I forgot who I was talking about.
Yeah,
it's Rami. He'll have lots to say, I'm sure.
It's Rami. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's been busy. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure he will join us at some point during the show. So we're going to save actually the news until he comes around, because Unity stuff kind of dominated the headlines for the past week. And it's not just a singular thing. There's like 7 different massive moments within that whole situation. So much that it's actually hard for me to follow, which is why I'm really glad that Rami is here to be able to tell us all the ins and outs of it.
I'm glad you said that, because now I don't feel like as big an idiot.
Because
no, I was like, dude, it's a little bit, a little bit tough to follow.
It's large and complex.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been so much that has happened around that. So we'll get to that when Rami gets on. Before that, though, luckily there's also been games, which is, I think, where the most of us have been hunkering down with some really good games. We've got more games coming. It's kind of we're in the middle of it, and then after that, kind of slows down. Actually, I guess not really. We got like 2 weeks till Spooderman, a week and a half till Cyberpunk. Yeah. That's the marketing around that. I'm sure you're privy to it. It's been really interesting seeing the the hype is getting up. It's not anywhere near what it was, but they're definitely hyping it up as like, this is the relaunch of Cyberpunk. This is like
it's 2.0. I mean, there's a reason they lined that up, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is what Cyberpunk potentially should have been when it launched.
That's fair.
Yeah, and
all this is free, right?
2.0 is free, but they're also releasing a big expansion, and the big expansion is not free. It's like a Blood and Wine style DLC for Witcher. So there's going to be a lot of new content.
Yeah. Idris Elba's in it, and the CG trailer they put out is very pretty. It is CG, but man, is it a pretty CG trailer?
It's good, man.
Released. It
looks good.
Phenomenal with Idris Elba in that. I saw a couple of the gameplay. How knowledgeable are you in terms of the 2.0 changes? Did you watch that?
Oh yeah. Not only have I watched the whole thing live, but I've been following pretty closely with it. So 2.0 is introducing a lot of features we wanted, a lot of features we didn't ask for, but are great changes, like rebalancing the skill trees, adding more variants to what players can do, rebalancing some stuff. Looks like they're really leaning into the hacking being superpowers, though. But with the patches that have already happened and the new stuff as well, it's just a huge, now the police system is going to be updated. Like I said, all the abilities have been reworked. They're reworking how cyberware works and how that gives to your armor. So no longer does a pink tank top with bitch on it have 26 AC.
Nice.
It's now all with your cyberware and stuff. And not only that, but now you have transmog, so you don't even need to wear that stuff if you don't want to. So there's just all sorts of positive changes that arguably, should have been in at launch that are now kind of arriving.
Yeah, I saw one of the changes is that when you shoot now, it uses your stamina. Is that accurate? Do you know if that's real?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. Maybe I just read a random headline of that and it was old or wrong or something.
Maybe it does. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. I feel
is saying yes.
Huh. Okay. I mean, that's that might be a fun change. It's fairly significant, I suppose, when it comes to the gameplay.
Is behind that, but
yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole new stamina system.
Maybe it'll work.
Yeah. Well, that launches a week prior, which I think was already mentioned later this week. What 2.0 hits.
What do you think is the thinking behind that? The stamina for shooting.
I mean, if you fire a weapon, you know, it's the kind of. I mean, some people do their
Probably
shooting
more
for hours. But
RPG.
if you're a new shooter, yeah, I'm guessing it's like trying to say that, you know, if you keep firing a weapon for a long time, it makes you tired. But I'm guessing more it's from, like JP said, a mechanical standpoint.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they're trying to balance something around that. But we'll see.
Okay, no, that I was talking about the mechanical
no stamina means
standpoint, yeah.
less accurate.
Oh, so you can still fire, you're just not accurate. Huh.
Yeah.
We'll see how that is in gameplay, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Probably won't affect my playthrough if I go back to it much, because I love the melees, the swords, and the
I'm
I'm
going melee my run. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're going melee as well?
There.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't even remember what I don't remember anything from my playthrough apart from the story. I think I just had like a sniper rifle or something in my original playthrough. And maybe a normal rifle. I forget all of the upgrades that I had.
Guns were always great in that game.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That launches 2.0 later this week. And then,
21st.
Yeah, the week after
4
that
days.
is whatever the expansion's called. Expansion name?
Phantom Liberty.
Phantom Liberty. There you go.
Is it a Metal Gear Solid expansion?
No, I wish. I wish it was.
They took Phantom Pain and Sons of Liberty and just mashed them up.
Yeah.
Phantom Liberty. There
Yeah,
we go.
it's Phantom Liberty. Big game releases this week. I think me and Co both played. Did you finish the Mortal Kombat 1 story?
Yeah. Nope, gonna be working on more this week.
Yeah, it's about 7 or 8 hours long, is what I've been told. I put about 3 into it. I had a blast with it. I don't know if you're enjoying it as much as I am. I kind of always enjoy
It's like the previous ones.
Yeah. The story, the writing seems a little bit better or improved or more comical, I guess. Where are you at? I haven't jumped the gun yet in the story. It's been pretty simple. I think that things are about to get real crazy though. Given the story of where I'm at.
It has its own popular take on popular tropes in media these days.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
You'll love it if you're a Marvel fan.
Really? Oh, okay. I know what's
Yep.
happening then. I know what's happening with that. Let me swap over to this. We'll show a little MK1 footage.
I have not seen this is the first time I'm actually watching a stream of it.
Yeah.
But I have. It's been hard to avoid like memes and tweets and stuff like that about like some of the shit, especially like the voice acting in it, like certain parts.
Oh,
certain
Megan
certain
Fox.
voice
Yeah, a lot of
actors.
I haven't gotten to Megan Fox yet, but everyone's like ripping Megan Fox apart for the
It's
VA.
you know, it's I mean, I think one of the big issues with the Megan Fox VA is that she is VAing with people that clearly have been doing like video game VA for a long time. Like a lot of the voices in this game are really good.
Yeah.
They really fit the characters and they're very theatrical and they kind of Megan is a bit different.
Okay.
In terms of her offerings. Specifically, I'd say it's like a little
Is it like bad
the
quality
argument would
or
be a little flat
or just
compared?
like what is bad?
When you have like somebody saying that he is going to, rule the outworld.
Yeah, and then we'll go get him and take him out.
Got it.
Yes, that we will.
It's just like it's just kind of like they're most of the voice actors are really into it, and it sounds like Megan was kind of like
Well,
there. Like I don't know.
The lines I gave
don't
her
wanna
to
be
say,
rude.
like one of the lines was I'm not the least bit scary to you. Like that was one of them. Like, no,
plays like a
lady,
demon
no,
in the
you
game,
are
yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays like a succubus vampire character thing, and it's just a little. It doesn't really fit the world, kind of.
Got it. Okay. Apparently, Maximilian Dude said the way that he put it, which is being chanted in chat, is that she speaks in lowercase always, which I guess is
Lowercase always.
meaning she like has zero inflection. It's just very much monotone.
Yeah.
Just like this.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
nonstop.
that's yep. It's very flat. I think is the word I would use. It's very
Yeah.
flat. There's not really a lot of
Yeah.
which all the other characters have, which I think is why it kind of stands out a lot. Like even Johnny Cage, who's kind of all about like the dad joke delivery. Even
Which
he
he's
has this, like,
great, dude.
cadence. Oh, he's great. He's phenomenal. And also, I love the references, man. Oh my
Dude,
god! I swear they gave him a character, and they were like, okay, your quota is 1 out of 3 lines has to contain a reference between 1990 and 2010.
Yes,
and that's what it feels like, and it's great. I mean, someone turns invisible, and he's like, "What is this, the Predator?" And just all over the place, he's doing these lines. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I can't believe they did the full "get your damn hands off of her" line.
Oh, dude,
that
great.
whole thing is in there.
Yeah.
It's just really okay. That's what great. Yeah. I think every other line from Johnny Cage is a movie reference. He's fantastic.
He's been phenomenal comic relief.
Yeah,
phenomenal comic relief.
Really good. The other thing I like, I don't know if you noticed this during the cutscenes. There's just third-party characters in the background that aren't main characters, but during a fight, they're still making coffee or just doing something random, and it's so funny to look for.
The first time that Sub-Zero comes in, and he slams his hand on the table and freezes it, and then the dude next to it just chips off some into his drink and starts drinking. It's awesome. I love that stuff. It's just little flavor all over the place.
I love all that. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I will most likely go back to it. I've heard nothing but good things from the campaign side of things.
I'll be returning to it next week. I'm definitely planning on finishing the main story.
Yeah. I got kind of blindsided by Lies of P, and that's currently drawing my attention, which we'll talk about in just a bit. But yeah, this it's great. It looks great. It runs great as long as you're not playing on the Switch. Did you guys see the Switch graphics?
Oh my god, the Switch screenshots.
I need to pull...
You bring them up? That needs to see this.
Yes, let me...
Oh my god. I every so often this kind of thing...
where the guy was moving into the background.
Dude, it's not a bug, just the overall quality. Every so often a game gets released on Switch where it's okay, whoever okayed this, the Batman series was another one where it's just this does not belong on this platform. The game does not belong on this platform. Yeah. And this yeah, for Switch for $70 as well. It's just
that's wild. Yeah. Chad, if you find them faster than I do, please. I have a couple from. I guess I could just grab them from Discord because the side by side or the actual fight stuff looks fine. It's when they do the close ups and
especially Johnny Cage's eyes and stuff are just oh my god. Dude.
Yeah. Is this?
Oh my god.
Okay, here we go. This shows the comparisons. Great. Let's show this. Who is this from? Who created this to give credit? Ooh. Let's go with a YouTuber by the name of Debits. He's got footage showing all the different things. So this is the Switch here. This is Xbox Series S, Steam Deck, and then PS5. You can see it's definitely muted. It's definitely...
But this isn't that bad. This is kind of okay, it's Switch. It's a Switch. But I mean, start...
Here we go. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. Okay. Here's Johnny Cage. Should I show? I guess I should show what it looks like
you
on
could
PS5.
do before and after.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, let's
obviously
do that.
A lot harder.
So this is the PS5 Cage right here. Looks great. He's got
good. Look at him. Look at the emotion in his eyes.
Yeah, you got emotion. Yeah. He's very upset. And then you go to the Switch.
Literally, his eyes are locked in place because there's so many polys being used for everything else. It's just
man.
Oh my god, dude.
But I gotta say, I really gotta say, just looking at these makes me feel a little bit of nostalgia for back in the day when it came out on the Genesis and Nintendo versions.
Sure.
The Genesis version everybody wanted that one because there was more blood, but the graphics were so much worse.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Nintendo version, it was so much better. It was just like that. It was just oh god, I want the blood on, but fuck, this is fucking laughably bad.
I want to be able to play on the toilet, but this is tough, man.
Yeah.
It's the new day and age.
How do I? Okay, now I'm now I'm really a boomer, chat. How do I open this without showing all of this stuff? Okay, there we go. That's exactly what it is. This is Milena, I think his character's name. Old school favorite.
Oh no. Oh god, no.
And that's yeah.
That looks like one of those meme videos from TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's pretty good.
Oh.
It's pretty good. Chat shared a couple more here. Let's pull these from Twitter. We saw
$70, by the way. $70.
yeah, that's maybe the biggest offense about this. There's another Johnny Cage one with him just doing
Good.
Johnny Cage things.
Good, yeah.
That's one we already saw. That is not from the game. That
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
refuse
say.
to believe that's not.
No,
is that
there's
really
no way
from the
that's from the
game?
game. There's no
I mean,
way
that's the HP bar. Is that like a fatality? I think he's maybe getting
No.
shocked. That's smoke. If that's
Oh
really
my God,
what it is,
might be.
that's
Might be.
kind of crazy. That's the one we saw. Yeah. Man. Okay.
Or smoke, man.
Whew.
They did him dirty, chat. They did him dirty.
Yeah. Not great. Not great. Don't buy it on the Switch. I don't know if you need to hear
Please.
that, but yeah, for podcast listeners, do not buy MK11 on the Switch, especially for $70.
Those screenshots are fake? No.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe
Not
that
fake.
one with
Maybe the smoke.
but
Maybe.
it looked like that
looks
was
real
like
bad.
Stryker when like Stryker shocks someone in the neck. So that's pretty sure that's an ability or a cameo that he has in the game. So yeah, we can only speak on the story stuff. Me and Co are not competitive fighting game players. I've seen a handful of them on Twitter. I've always kind of known that like MK1 is not necessarily, or Mortal Kombat is not necessarily regarded as like a great competitive fighter within the FGC, but it is like annually or whenever it comes out, one of the highest selling fighting games out there, if not the highest selling fighting game out there. So we'll have to see how the competitive community kind of talks about it and goes into it. Probably just jump into Maximilian Dude's stream. He'll give you the down low on it and let you know what's going on with that. I mentioned Liza P. That game's great. I was kind of blindsided by how good that game is.
Yep.
How far are you, Co? Where are you at? I just got past the demo content.
I am up to, I want to say it's like the first like quote unquote hard boss.
Really? What number boss would you say that is?
3 or 4. Like it's one of those bosses, and I don't want to spoil it, so you'll have the same you'll feel
I'm
the same.
curious what that
I
is.
did, but there's a boss that I got up to, and it's one of those. It's definitely there are. I don't want to spoil it, but there are bosses in other games that had a similar feeling, and I we'll talk about it more when people have gotten to it and played it and stuff.
Okay.
Having a great time with it. It is a super good Souls-like. It feels good. The world is interesting. It's definitely a spiky game. So like you can just be like walking through it just fine. Then you get to like a dude that's dual wielding shields or something, and then all of a sudden you're dying to him like 5 times.
Sure.
But it's it's that kind of game. But it's great. I'm super digging it. Kind of a Bloodborne-y feel, but not Bloodborne-y. Kind of like a triple or excuse me, like a double or single A Bloodborne kind of thing. Assuming that a Bloodborne would be made these days, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I'm really enjoying it.
I don't. The reviews came out for it, and then the first thing I saw was and it was like they were speaking to me in a very selfish way. The line was literally, "This is the best Souls-like." And I was like, well, I've always hated Souls-like games because they never feel anywhere close to what From Software can actually make, right? Like no one has been able to crack that formula for whatever it is that From Software does. This game has, and it's just a fantastic Souls-like for me to enjoy. I love all the weight of the combat. I love how the combat or the items are. There's just like a shit ton of weapons, like a massive amount of weapons, and you can mix and match them to like change the type of scaling that you have on your weapon type, which is awesome. I really enjoy that. I like there's they like took parts from all of the Souls games. There's like a little bit of Sekiro in here. There's like
Mhm.
the Bloodborne stuff, which you were already referencing. It's great. I'm absolutely loving it. It's also like what 30 hours long is what I've heard. 30 to if you're a
it's pretty long.
completionist, it's like 60 hours, I think, is what
Mhm.
I've seen in a couple places. So it's definitely got some girth
Very
to the game.
very Bloodborne inspired.
Yes,
Like
theme.
mechanically, yeah, which is interesting when I heard you say like it's the most Souls-like game. I mean it's in a lot of ways it's like a copy paste of Bloodborne, like mechanically.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I think it pulls the parry
Which I
mechanic.
think is fine. I think it's great. So
Parry mechanic is straight from Sekiro, in my opinion.
the parry mechanic is from Sekiro. They've kind of taken the whole they amalgamated the Bloodborne take damage and get it back from hitting into the blocking mechanic. So they kind of like shuffled things around a little bit, but and I say it in a good way, like because it actually does have its own flavor, but it's very, very Bloodborne inspired.
Yeah.
Like
That's the
Bloodborne,
thing I had
and
to
it's worth checking
learn
out.
when I was playing I played the demo for several hours, and the thing that was the most difficult for me to learn was that it's almost like necessary and encouraged and all that shit to actually parry and block
You kind
and
of have
stand
to.
there rather than like with Dark Souls it's dodge rolling. And once I figured that out, like you can just stand there and bang with the enemy. It became a lot more fun for me, honestly, because I was never very good at like dodge rolling and stuff. I'll dodge roll at the wrong time or dodge roll right into them and right into an attack or shit like that. So I was happy that was more of a focus in the combat.
Yeah, they definitely the whole like in 90% of Souls likes, I'd say the big glowing red move is the unblockable one that you have to dodge. And in this game, they kind of take that on its head because most of those you can't dodge unless you're in the right place, and you have to perfect parry them, which is definitely a little bit different.
Yeah. The first boss specifically, and kind of I would say most bosses, you have to take a run or two and just be like, all right, that's
Gotta learn 'em.
You got it. This is how that's like, okay, I've got that move down. And then they generally have multiple stages to them in terms of like HP, and then something happens to them. And then they either speed up or change the animation a little bit. And so it's like figuring that stuff out. I think the first boss took me 4 or 5 tries. I'm on, you said it was the 4th boss. I think I fought a 5th boss, but I did not kill it because it was kind of in an optional thing and you can go around it, if that makes sense, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm in I'm in tunnels in like a factory or something like that. Right past, I think, what the demo content was. It's good though. I want to do a full playthrough of it, but man, there's a lot of games right now.
What's on your list this week?
Well, I want to finish Mortal Kombat. We haven't talked about it yet, but I got signed up for a Dokapon Kingdom run through, which if you don't know what that is.
What is that?
It's basically Mario Party on steroids created by the devil, is really what that is. The runs take...
Sounds fun.
It takes about a 60-hour playthrough on the minimum side with 3 other people. So kind of been into that with me stripping Gmart and Boone. That's been a quote-unquote fun experience. It's basically just screw your friends over simulator, nonstop Mario Party version. So that's on my radar. I've been playing that. And then I'm fucking stripping got me full-blown addicted to League again. So I've been playing that. And I'm also full-blown addicted to Snap once again. So that's taken up most of my nights in terms of the free time with that. Zeke, I'm 7 away from Infinite. I'm almost there.
I was just going to ask. You knew I was going to ask, like, how close are you to Infinite, bro?
Yeah.
What deck you using, homie?
Right now I'm using a Evolved Doom, if you know what that means.
I do not, but
Okay.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then there's also Sea of Stars, which I want to keep playing, but probably won't stream that. But Sea of Stars is fucking awesome. If you haven't played that and you have Game Pass, and you like JRPGs, specifically like Super Mario RPG or Chrono Trigger or something like that, check that out. And then I honestly, that Cyberpunk trailer that they put out the other day kind of made me interested in checking that out. If not only for the graphical appeal, like the graphics in that game just look phenomenal and kind of always have, especially now with like the RTX overdrive mode or whatever they call it in game. I just want to see what that looks like. They were also, one of the devs was talking like this game will like tax your entire system, even if you have the like beast of a machine or something. So that was like challenge accepted for me. I want to see what it looks like and how it runs, what kind of FPS I get with that. I should also note that performance-wise and graphics-wise, Liza P, I think the game looks phenomenal in both presentation, graphics, performance. I'm running 4K, everything maxed out. I'm getting 150 plus FPS with no DLSS. It's just like raw 4K resolution. And it looks great. Voice acting, kind of rough. I wouldn't say it's great. It doesn't detract from the game, but like, it's it's okay. But the music, did you find any of the like records and listen to that?
I found one of them so far.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Was that the baby one?
Maybe.
The Bloodborne window baby one?
Yeah.
That's a new sentence, I think. We could put that on the
new
subreddit.
one.
Yeah. It's very good. The music in the game is very well done. I was not expecting a like vocalized track like that. I don't know if that was originally created for the game or if that's from somewhere else, but there's like a jukebox and you can play, and it's in like you have like a hub area. It's very Demon Souls inspired, or really Bloodborne inspired, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, where you have to go back and like level up type deal. You can change the music there, and it's good. So
quick question. You mentioned the voice acting. On a scale of Megan Fox to 10,
I haven't seen Megan Fox yet, so
acting?
I can't comment on it, but it's not great. Like, I can't really praise the voice acting in Lies of P, at least from the main characters. There are good, like, people in the town seem very well voice acted, but like the main characters that you would the game's based off of like Pinocchio and Pinocchio lore, so like Jiminy's in here and Geppetto's in here, and yeah, that type of stuff. And those characters, those characters are voiced fine. Like it's passable. Not anything special there, but it's good. Definitely check it out. I think Liza P's on Game Pass, right, Co?
I don't know. I'm playing the early version, so I'm not sure. But I want to say it is or will be.
Okay. Yeah, the deluxe version I think you can buy into now for like 10 extra bucks. And then I think on the 19th it goes on Game Pass. Yes, Chad is saying it is. Cool. It's good. Don't let the idea of it not being a From Software Souls game shy you away like it would have done me had I not just checked it out on a whim, because it's fantastic. Really enjoying it. I can't speak highly enough about it. I'm going to try to finish it, but we'll see. It's supposed to be a girthy game.
Big game.
Yeah, a lot of
It's a
bosses.
big boy game.
So we'll see how.
And it's actually not released yet unless you buy the deluxe edition, right? Like The Game Pass edition won't be released until when? Do we know?
19th, I believe. Tuesday.
JP, are you using
Okay.
summons?
No, I saw the option for it. On it like tutorializes the summon before I think the final boss that's in the demo. It unlocks tomorrow. Sorry, the 18th. I gave you the wrong information. But yeah, I have not. I don't even know like who it summons or what it summons. Did you mess with it at all?
No, I'm not sure either. Yeah.
I have no idea how the summons function, and if they like draw aggro, or how easy they make the bosses. I can't speak to any of that, because I didn't want to like downplay the boss or whatever you want to throw in there. I did not look at it at all. Kill people in chat are saying they do kind of help and taunt the boss. So.
Yeah. The boss that I'm on, I was told that somebody tried it for hours before they had to inevitably summon and beat it.
Really?
So,
it's that hard? I'm curious what that boss
yeah.
is because I have not struggled really yet. I wonder if I'm right before it.
It's a
Is it in the
hours
factory?
after the demo content? No.
Oh, okay. If it's not in the factory, then yeah. Dan was talking about a boss that he was stuck on that's like post factory. I wonder if that's the same boss.
That might have been it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the one I'm on is definitely it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Not impossible, obviously. Just
I'm actually really glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that there are bosses you can get stuck on and stuff, that it is in keeping with the Souls-like difficulty of, you can either go and like fucking level up and you know do that shit to be more powerful against the boss, or you can beat your head against it for hours and hours and hours.
Yep.
And
that's what I like.
When you finally
get good, essentially.
Yeah. Which is, I think most gamers like. I would venture to guess to say like most Souls-like gamers who enjoy those games, that's what they do. They're like, I got here, I'm gonna beat this boss with exactly what I brought in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's what you want. that's what I want from it.
Yeah.
So I'm blown away, to be honest. I can't speak highly enough about it. It's got the Souls hook where it's just like I want to constantly play. I constantly think about it. And it's good.
Now, JP, I have to ask, since you are probably the most prolific resident min-maxer, have you found? I mean, that's fair to say, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I play the games that I guess I min-max the most in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Have you found the thing you're just like, this is it? Like, this is the thing that people will say you're not really playing if you use this weapon or whatever.
Not that I found.
Okay.
I'm using like I found a police baton, and the scaling of that is A for motion,
mobility,
whatever the strength parallel is.
Motility.
Motility. Yeah, it's got weird terminology for like they're like, we're not going to name it strength. We're not going to name it dex. We're not going to name it
mobility. Advance is like the elemental thing. Technique is dex.
Yeah. So I bumped that up.
There it is.
Bump that up to like A scaling for strength, and then I think I'm using a police baton with the strength scaling thing on it for this sword, whatever the base of this sword, which is like a two-handed thing, and it's doing fairly well so far. But I have no idea what like the min max. There's so many weapons, honestly. I can't even like.
There's not. So Zeke, what's kind of cool is whenever you get a weapon, it's a blade and a hilt, and you can actually
right. I remember that.
And then you can upgrade the blade, or you can upgrade the hilt, and you can even change the scaling of the hilt. You can modify it a little bit. So if something's like not scaling with your main stat, you can like change it to that. And then there's different hilts have different move sets as well. You can take like the blade off a giant weapon and put it on the hilt of like a dagger, and then all of a sudden you're like stabbing with your giant greatsword and everything. So
okay,
and it scales off of your strength, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? Is it like you said it's close to Bloodborne? Are the weapons like it like change? Do they transform weapons or no?
I've gotten one that's like actually transformed. But each hilt and blade have special moves. So that those blue bars in the top left there, they a blade may have a forward thrust that moves you forward, while the hilt may have like a defensive charge move, or maybe like an AoE sweep, or like an elemental thing, or a charge up for a buff. All sorts of stuff. So you can actually mix and match the buffs too.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also an intellect stat. I don't think there's spells in the game, but I know that it scales.
Advance?
Yeah, well, it's intellect stat, I guess in quotes. It apparently affects your
There's
elemental
vitality.
damage.
Yeah, that's advanced.
That's advanced.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like there's a flame dagger and there's like a capacitor mace.
Yeah.
And those have elemental damage on them. And so the higher your advance is, it scales with that. But yeah, that is intellect.
Yeah. But there's
Don't-
no spells.
Okay, I was gonna
There's
say,
not
like,
really-
please
well,
don't
You have
tempt
an
me,
arm.
Frodo, and say
an
there's
arm.
spells.
later on your arm can like do like a flamethrower and like an electric discharge, and then you can level that up. You can get a gun on it. You can get like a shield on it. So there's
Oh, I haven't
and your
found the
arm
shield.
is independent of your weapon. So
So
it's not,
it's
not
an
spells, but it's
afterthought, like
elemental
the Bloodborne like tentacle book or whatever. It's like that.
stuff. I wouldn't say it's an
Like, it's an
afterthought. I mean, they can be
ancillary
really
thing?
strong. Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not a main thing. That's
Okay.
definitely it's not. It's like a sub weapon kind of.
Yeah.
It has.
I mean, I just
if
don't
you look in the
wanna
bottom
make-
left. It has like a mana bar.
Yeah,
they
bottom
call- I
left,
think they
where it
call-
says
yeah.
left arm of steel or whatever.
But you can only use it so much before it runs out.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
like the
I don't want to
Sekiro
make the
one, yeah.
same mistake that I did in Bloodborne, and I was like, oh, arcane stat. I'm gonna put all my points in that because magic.
Now in this game, you can put a whole bunch of points in that, but then you're kind of wanting to use elemental weapons.
Yeah.
at that
Or
point.
you want to choose a weapon, a base item, so you can scale it off of that stat, I guess is how you would look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is it's interesting because
A hilt.
the
That's
scaling,
term.
the hilt, the scaling can work off the blade or the hilt. So like with that electric beat stick I was talking about, if you have the big pylon on the top, it has an electric sub damage, and then we'll add a certain amount to it. If you use the electric hilt, then your advance will be applied to the electric as well. But if you use a different hilt, then it will have like 0 application because that's because it's electric damage. You're not using the hilt designed to work with that. So there's like little gotchas here and there, but thankfully it's all right in front of you when you're mixing and matching. You'll actually see like +0, then you'll switch back to the other one, it'll be like +14. And it's like, oh, okay, well I better pick that.
Yeah. So
One thing I wanted just to bring up about the grinding, like the resharpening. Does that ever like it didn't seem super annoying in the demo.
it's
Does it
Not
get
too bad. Not
Okay.
too bad.
it's the type of thing where I don't view it. I have not been annoyed by it, but I've definitely been in a boss fight and the boss is at like 20% HP and my weapon breaks and then I'm just like, oh shit, I gotta sharpen my weapon. Like what am I like what am I like what I gotta do this. I gotta figure out and so like it adds, if anything, it's like additive to the gameplay experience so far for me. I've not been annoyed by it at all. It also has a really cool effect. Right, he just starts grinding his weapon, and like the little sparks that shoot off of it look fucking cool. There's also you can use items that like instant repair or instant grind a weapon if you want to.
Oh, right,
in a
right.
boss. It's got all that stuff in it. So yeah, this I think this is one of the major bosses in the demo. It's got a demo. I think we've mentioned that multiple times. But if you're at all curious and you don't want to like bite the bullet, you don't have Game Pass, it's got a demo on Steam and most
Definitely worth checking
most
out.
platforms. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm sure we'll have more to say when we continue playing it, because I think we both plan on doing that. Are you going to try to finish this before the 21st, Co? Or what's like?
Well, I was, but then I learned that it's like 30 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really don't know at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't
I'm also
know.
still playing Starfield, so I mean,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
still
know.
got that Starfield addiction. I still,
Yeah, I do.
I'll check your stream every once in a while. I'm just like, huh, all right. Starfield still. We're still on that. That's good. Anyways, that's Liza P. Check it out. It's on Game Pass tomorrow. You can grab it today if you want to spend the, I want to say it's $10 deluxe.
wait, is that true? Somebody said they took the demo down?
Yeah, it's not on Steam anymore.
Oh,
Just look.
really?
Really? That's too bad.
I wonder if
why
that's
they did
to
that. That was
sell
a great
the-
demo.
Is that like we got to sell $10 things? $10 like deluxe editions or something? I wonder if they had that
I
back.
don't know.
We should also note, because we didn't mention this at all, that white bar right there, when you perfect parry a boss, you can essentially break the boss, and you can like straight up break the weapons that they have if you do it enough. And so it's got a little bit of like extra whatever
Super cool.
to it. Yeah, it's really fun when
Mhm.
it happens and you break their weapon and they're hitting you with like nothing, essentially. I enjoyed that a lot. So it's a major mechanic, I would say, for for a lot of the bosses. But yeah.
Oh, just stupid question, curiosity.
Let's hear it.
Is there like in a lot of Souls games you can like cut off a tail or whatever and get a special weapon from that? Is there anything like that in this, or?
I
have not
have
seen
heard
it.
there is.
Okay.
I have not gotten it myself, but I have. Somebody told me that there were different ways to kill bosses, but I'm
Okay.
not
Cool.
really sure what it would give or anything.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I'm a fan of
I
that.
don't. I need to confirm that. I mean, that could have just been happening.
There
I
are
might- myself.
Titanite lizard equivalents,
Yeah.
right? Like
Okay.
you happen upon those, and the game's very blatant in saying like you should kill this thing for rare resources. It's got the upgrade system where it's like you got to get 2 of or 1 and then 2 and then 4 and then there's a new upgrade item that you have to go and find and all that type of stuff. So
Are they all the same stone like they did later on, or are they like sharp stone, dark stone, blah 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 blah
Nope.
blah blah?
It's like first it's like hidden pearl or something, and then it's like crescent something, and it just kind of goes through the list.
yeah, and you can upgrade
Again,
both.
again, very Bloodborne.
You can upgrade the like blade. Is it blade and hilt? Whatever the 2 weapon
Yep, blade and hilt.
separators.
You got it.
Yeah, you can upgrade the blade, and then you can also upgrade the hilt, and that'll upgrade like the scaling and all that stuff.
It's a little different though. It doesn't use the same components. So
Yeah,
it's a
different
little
stuff.
nicer. Yeah.
It's good. You should play it, Zeke. As long as if you're into the Souls experience, I definitely think it's worth checking out.
You know what? I'm going to check it out. Like probably on stream.
Nice.
When it releases on Game Pass. I have a couple of games lined up, so it won't be for a bit until like it dies down a little bit, so I can maybe get some of the dregs of like people who like maybe haven't checked it out or waiting until they finished it.
There you go.
But I do want to do it on stream because Souls games and me, like, we have a long history of streaming all of them on the stream, and it gets loud.
Yeah.
And it gets mean. And I apologize ahead of time. I get
Okay.
real mean to people in chat just because, like, you know,
It happens.
what's taking you so long? Why is this was easy for me? I don't understand. And my absolute favorite comment from the chat, I'm sure you guys love it. Finally.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. After you feel like that beautiful,
Oh.
I can't believe I did it. That was so tough. You're celebrating, and someone's like, "God, that was so boring." Just seeing him. Thank God we can see new stuff now.
Yeah.
That's that comes with those are classic Twitch, Dark Souls
Oh, yeah.
commentary. You gotta love it.
And I will, in fact, make you this promise. I will be playing Liza P with King Kong Steak in my ear.
Awesome.
I will make you that promise right
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Last thing on Liza P. The worst thing about the game, I can't stand the character model that you play. I can't. I do not like walking around as Timothy Chalamet.
now. Chalamet.
Fucking did like early 1800. Timothy Chalamet is great, but that's not who I envision as like a badass in a Souls game experience.
Yeah.
I do not. So the first,
This is what peak performance looks like, JP.
very, very early in the game, there's no like armor in the game. There's costumes. They call it costumes. There's no stats applied to any
Right,
of them.
yeah.
They're just costumes. And very quickly, I found a donkey mask, and I just put the
yes.
donkey mask on. And so now I'm just
From
walking
that
around.
island.
That's we call that my main.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, that's the donkey. You just got to put that on immediately.
Is there like the old Pinocchio like lederhosen outfit? Because if so, like that's the one I want to wear.
I found something similar to it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm only 4 hours into a 30-hour game. I'm sure there's a ton of different outfits that exist.
They get better later.
Yeah.
They do.
But man, it just straight up Timothy Chalamet with like a giant hair.
Oh,
Just
seriously? It's
voluminous hair.
available. Someone in my chat said it's available for like if you pre-order, you can get the what?
What, you get the outfit?
the lederhosen outfit.
Oh, well, they cater to Zeke. That's how they get you. Just add the lederhosen for $10. Pre-order now. Liza P.
Awesome.
Speaking of lies, I don't know. That was a weird transition. Let's bring in the main liar himself. It's Rami.
Oh, see, I think it would have been so much better if you would have been like, Rami canceled. He's gone. Speaking of liars, lies of R. Let's go. Hi, Rami. How are you?
I feel like I've had enough punishment. I've been watching this from like the bench for the last like 15 minutes. I understand you couldn't interrupt the segment, but it was really fun just being like, am I live? Am I not live? Am I maybe live?
Yeah. Well, I gave you some updates on Twitter, not very many, but yes.
There's nothing worse than being forced to watch this show.
I know.
Agree.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough. I mean, and I dropped in like right as there was like discussion about like some dick in Zeke's ear, and like I'm just like, what am I like? Where did I drop in?
Yeah.
So
it's an inside joke that I made a long time ago about like people who play Souls games and how like if you use magic, you're not a real Dark Souls player. if that kind of stuff, and I said, well, okay, you beat it. Like I did a whole thing. Like you beat it, but did you beat it with King Kong's dick in your ear? And it became like a thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, sometimes things become a thing.
Yep.
I played all of Armored Core with the shotgun, so I'm one of those.
A very astute gentleman you are. Yeah.
Double shotguns, just giant tank. We're good. We're good. What's a boss?
A gentleman, a man of class. We didn't do a sound test, so I'm going to ask you real quick. Are you using the right mic? Is it set on the right mic?
Oh God, I don't know. Is it terrible?
Tap the mic real quick. I'll let you know. It is not. If you want to set the real mic real quick and refresh.
Okay.
You do the old VMix special there. Yeah. Code, did you finish Armored Core, by the way? Did we talk about that?
I did the first one.
Okay.
So I've beaten the first round. I don't know if I'm going to go back and do the other two. I loved the gameplay, but I wasn't like super jazzed about the story. So, I mean, I love my time in it. You know, I made my mech and had a great time souping him up. But,
yeah. I never jumped in at all. For some reason, I think it was Baldur's Gate was the reason, not some reason, but I think Baldur's Gate was just like the main reason why I didn't jump into that. So that's maybe the one software from software IP that I have not, still to this day, never played. I think you're using the right mic now, Rami.
Yeah, is this better?
Yeah, you don't got to talk directly into the mic though.
No,
you're good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a professional like you. Okay, I just press buttons.
Yeah, you're good.
That's all I know how to do.
Let's talk about this Unity stuff. We haven't mentioned it at all. We were saving it for you to kind of break it down for us because there are so many different facets of it. But I think it all kind of stems initially from their original update to their plan, I guess, as it were. But after that, the fallout has been crazy. The bomb threats from prior employees I saw headlines about, just crazy stuff. So I'll let you introduce it, Rami, and kind of tell us the original sin, as it were, and then we'll just go from there. So what's going on with Unity? Why is it everyone's favorite engine right now in the video game world?
Well, we just really like greed and liars. It's just that's just our favorite thing. It's just like really just awful backstabbing liars. That's our favorite thing.
Sure.
Especially since we need a long time to make a game. So if we pick one thing that decides to backstab us, they get to backstab us for a few more years. No, so that's literally what it came down to be frank. But so Unity as a game engine, is probably one of without a question, honestly, is the most popular game engine in the world, right?
Yeah, like
in terms of
Genshin, Hoyo, like those are.
Yeah. But even if you wouldn't count Genshin, still like 60 to 70% of all games ever released are Unity at this point. Like it's bonkers. Big. Right? This is everywhere, and it's everywhere from like kids starting to make their first games, all the way to like professional teams releasing things like Genshin, right? So this is, in terms of impact in the games industry, it's probably one of the largest things ever made. Mobile, VR, indie, a bunch of like really big pro games. And Unity was always that popular for a number of reasons. One, it's very accessible. Two, it's cheap. Right? And the way Unity's pricing model has always worked is very simple. Until you make like $100,000, you don't pay anything. If you make more than $100,000, you start having to pay for the plus model. And then if you made over another amount, you want to start buying for the pro model. And those are paid by seat. So if you have 5 people at your studio, you buy 5 seats, and you pay like, what is it, $2,000 a month or so, $2,000 a year, or like $10,000 a year, or something like that. You know?
Okay.
$2,000 a year. Anyway, Unity saw that big Genshin money and went, well, shit. You know, that studio has like a few hundred people, so all we're making is like $60K from Genshin. That's bonkers. Now, if you were somebody like Unreal has a deal. The first $1 million you make, you pay nothing. But after you make $1 million, every dollar you make over that $1 million, you pay 5%. Right? That's the deal. There's another story I'll tell you later that I love about that. But
okay,
is that a good deal?
So here's the thing. Yes, like engines are a really big part of game development, right? Like the best deal for a game developer is you use something open source. It's free. You pay nothing ever at all. Downside is you can't be sure it gets maintained. My original version of Ridiculous Fishing was made in open frameworks. Amazing tool in 2013 until they stopped updating it in 2014. And then when we wanted to do updates, Apple updated the minimum requirements, and the version from 2013 that we were using didn't have the updates that Apple wanted, so we had to rewrite the engine. So we just gave up on that shit because there was just no way to do it. It's just it's stopped, right? Yeah. So these paid engines, the benefit they have is you can be more sure that the engine won't stop working. So Unity decided they wanted some of that big Genshin money, and they basically went, okay, how can you make some of that Genshin money? Now the smart thing, the reasonable thing, the thing that nobody would have complained about is if Unity had said, we'll take 5%, 4%, 6% of your revenue over a certain amount of money. And then they will make infinite Genshin bucks. Instantly, right? But that wasn't good enough for Unity. So what Unity decided to do is something that hitherto has never been tried in the games industry, or any industry for that matter. At least not a public one, which is they want to charge for installs. Not downloads, not purchases, installs.
And that particular part, just it hit me when I first realized I installed Baldur's Gate 3 on 3 different devices.
Right.
That means that's 3. That it doesn't count as 1, even though it's under one account, my account. It's 3 installs. So anytime, you could just screw a fucking developer if you had a bunch of things to install on.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, Rami. Didn't they at some point say that they were going to do some kind of license thing where if you bought a copy of a game, you could install it on multiple devices and it wouldn't count? Or is that?
No, they said that, then they didn't say that, then they did say that, and then they didn't say that. The really weird thing that happened is
welcome to Unity discussion.
Installs are a terrible thing to calculate for, right?
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. First one, we don't control them. We have no way to control the amount of installs, right? So you could, if Go buys my game and then decides to install it on 7,000 computers, then I'm screwed because he bought it once and then installed it 7,000 times.
Which I would do, to be fair.
It's very cool.
Specifically my games.
Very me thing to do.
Right. Pirates, demos, updates, anything that forces a player to reinstall the game or to install it on a new computer. You upgrade your graphics card, that's a new computer. Same an install.
And also,
here's the thing.
Just to be clear, the Rust cheating community, which has been this eternal at odds with the Rust devs, they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other. They were already showcasing the fact that they had a script to just continually install Rust over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
They're we'll sync you, because Rust is also on Unity.
And they come. So the basic idea was you pay 20 cents per install, unless you get to the Pro Edition, then you pay, what was it, a few cents per install, right? Now, installs is a terrible idea. So immediately a bunch of developers started calculating how out of business they would be if that would happen. Like, take something like a free-to-play game, Genshin and Rumbleverse before it went down, like, any of those games. Those are games, multiplayer games, that depend on lots of downloads. Destiny has a lot of downloads. Not all of them convert to monetization, right? So, those games, instantly screwed. Mobile games, instantly screwed. Any game with low sale price, instantly screwed. We started calculating in the indie scene what a charity bundle would cost. Remember that really nice charity bundle we did for like racial equality and yeah, that one? Yeah, that had 800,000 downloads.
Right.
If all of those people installed your game one time, you would owe Unity 160K.
Well, to be fair, that was a bundle as well.
Yep.
So there would have been multiple installs for every one of those, right?
Potentially. Yep.
Just at a bare minimum, 160. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, assuming everybody installed your game. So if you were one of the top games in that bundle and almost everybody installed it, you were down 160K. Now, on that bundle, every developer made exactly $0. So everybody lost it for two reasons. A, that's a terrible deal and it's stupid. It's the dumbest. It is literally, I have never seen a bigger fuck up in the history of video games. And that includes ET, right? ET here, Unity shit right here. This is preposterous, right? This is like sync games industry level bullshit.
Yeah.
So everybody lost their shit. When we realized that the second part that they did is they had a clause since 2019 or something, 2016, because they pissed everybody off a few years ago by just jumping a change in terms on us. And we went, that's fucked up. So they reversed course and they said, you know what? Mea culpa, our bad. Let us give you a clause that says whenever you use a version of Unity, the terms that apply to that license, to that Unity version, are the terms you're stuck with forever, and we will never change them. In fact, even better, we'll put our entire terms on Git, where programmers can easily compare different versions, so everybody is always up to date on what changes. So they quietly killed that clause in 2022, stopped updating the Git, and now they go, actually, sorry, retroactively, this applies to everything you've ever released ever. So if I made a game in 2011 in Unity, it applies to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that pissed us off as well. So we all got really angry. And pretty much every developer in the world was pissed off at Unity. And so what Unity decided to do is backtrack. They started backtracking, but they didn't want to switch the idea. They still want to charge for installs. So they started saying, okay, no. Fraudulent installs, malicious installs, install bombing, a word that, by the way, didn't exist last week because it's stupid.
Install bonding? Is that what you said?
It's
bombing.
Oh, bombing.
Like
bombing.
Bombing.
Bombing. Yeah.
You can fuck a developer by installing their game a lot.
Sure.
Install bombing didn't exist last week. So they went.
That's something that you, like, viewers at home can do. It's like, hey, do you hate a game company? Let me show you this macro, make it real easy for you to just uninstall and reinstall this game and charge them every single time.
Yeah.
Right. So, Unity went, actually, you know what? Y'all are right. Charity installs don't count. Fraudulent installs don't count. Bundle installs don't count. Those don't count. How the fuck? How do they know?
How do you track it?
I'm a programmer. You can't. There's no way to know for two reasons. A, technically, it's impossible. There's no way to track installs. We would track installs if we could.
Rami,
it's nice to know.
No. Rami, they have a proprietary system that they're working on that will have almost near to perfect accuracy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to trust them here.
Didn't you hear?
Come on, a little bit of
Yeah.
trust,
Yeah.
Rami.
Yeah, a little bit of trust. A little bit of trust. I always try to trust the people that reverse their TOC
In the famous words
they won't do it.
of another very trustworthy individual, it just works, Rami. And I think you should really just kind of think about that. Yeah.
It just works.
Don't worry.
It's
Okay,
really
I have an actual legitimate question though about that. Like, is Unity? Since you said like you're a programmer and you can't track installs, is there a way? Are you saying that they cannot do that either, and they're just fucking guessing, or?
Oh, okay. There's two ways they can do it.
Okay.
There's two ways they can do it. There are ways they can do it. The first one is hyper illegal because it would involve attaching the install to an individual.
Yeah.
So I would have to know that you, Zeke, have an install. This is your first install, and when you do it again, I don't count it. But I need to fingerprint you. I need to know who you are. And to do that, I would need some sort of device fingerprint, IP address, or a bunch of information to make sure that it's uniquely you, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, there could be two people with the exact same hardware configuration installing in two places, and then does it count? So they would have to fingerprint you. That's straight up illegal. You're not allowed to do that unless you have consent from people, right? So you would need consent. Option 2, hyper-aggressive spyware. Like hyper-aggressive spyware. Every game would have to have some sort of spyware that gets a fingerprint, somehow makes it anonymous, and then sends it over to Unity. Those are their two options.
Funny thing is, the second one sounds like the hyper illegal one, like really aggressive spyware.
Yeah.
Like, or a fingerprint.
It's one of those two. Those are the only two ways to do it. And even then, it's not 100% accurate, right? It's a guesstimate. It's sort of like, oh, probably something around this, but they're charging us for it.
Yeah.
So I don't really like the idea of like, it's somewhere. It's somewhere about you owe us 160 gig because you really
That's what I'm saying. Like they
quality.
can just say like, you owe us this much, and the person they're charging is like, where's the receipts? It's like, you don't need to see.
No, but we got them. Don't worry about it. We got them.
For
the
real?
numbers are right. Trust us. That's literally what they said. So when they started
That can't be
backtracking, it got worse because they started backtracking on stuff that they clearly hadn't thought through. Like, for example, what about Game Pass? It's great. Love Game Pass. But I get one bag of money. And then for 2 years, free downloads. You know how many people download a Game Pass deal and then just delete it without playing it?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Each of those would charge us 20 cents. So we got angry about it. And then Unity went, no. We're not gonna charge you. We're gonna charge Microsoft. I want to. Whatever Unity is like, legal's department is. I want it too because I want to be able to run up to one of the people. Like, everybody watching now owes me 20 cents retroactively for every episode you've ever watched with me in it.
Well, and that's
how
I
that
think
feels.
that's a strike for us, like for the developers, I guess, is that like, please charge Microsoft to try. Please try that. That is see how that goes.
Yep. So, worst case, Microsoft just straight up stops putting Unity games on Game Pass.
Yeah, they just stop working.
Which for
with them.
developers is the worst possible outcome. That's probably worse than the 20 cents. Because Game Pass is a lot of money. That's a good deal. And it's not just going to be Game Pass, Apple Arcade, any exclusivity deal with Epic. All of those would just be like, Sorry, what did you develop this in? Oh, Unity. Yeah. Well, we love your game, but we don't think it's fit for our portfolio at the moment. That's what publishers always say. Don't worry, like it's just they always say, oh, it's not a great fit for us right now. So as they were backtracking, they made it worse somehow, which is incredible because
This is
they
now
already
stage
started
5
at
of making it worse, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
They started at ET level, and somehow they have like excelled over and over again.
Haven't you heard of the term fighting fire with fire? I know I'm on fire, but put more fire on me. It'll put it out. It's common knowledge.
So basically, it's a shit show. I've never seen anything like it. So because it's terrifying. This is terrifying. Like Unity is in 60 to 70% of games coming out, which all of those developers are trained in Unity. Their teams are in Unity. They've hired for Unity. They've developed for Unity. Their tools are in Unity. Their assets are in Unity. All of their stuff is in Unity. The Unity Asset Store, a lot of developers have thousands of dollars of spend in that. And just the thought of switching to Unreal or Godot or any of the other ones, you're talking about like tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars of sync costs just gone. That's for the small teams, right? The big teams.
Well, I'm like, what has Genshin said? Has Hoyoverse said anything about any of this?
They're like the one company that doesn't care. They're like, yeah, we'll give you a few more mil, whatever.
We're printing money. You want some more money we're
whatever,
printing?
Dude.
Like I'm curious. Like the
it almost would be weird.
Like it's weird because they're so much higher than everyone else in terms of just revenue that I would just love to see them come out and be like, actually go fuck yourself. Like, I would love for them to just have a comment on it, but I don't think I've seen anything like that, right?
Well, you know, the scary part is because it's on installs, you can't just stop paying Unity, right? So even if I stop selling my game, say I'm like, screw this, I'm going to stop selling my game, or Genshin goes, we're going to stop selling our game, it doesn't affect Unity. The game still gets installed.
Yeah.
Right? So we have nothing. We have nothing we can do. So I think Genshin is mostly just waiting. But I'm sure in the back end, they're having conversations with Unity that are just like, yo.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Because getting Genshin over to Unreal, that's like a half year to a year's like development work, right? Like that's not a small gig, even with a pretty veteran team. Like I think the core systems would come over fairly easily, but like just making it work on everything, getting your pipeline set up, it's gonna take a long time. So, you know, it's just every developer I've spoken to, and I've spoken to over 100 developers over the past like few days, it's just like, okay, yeah, no, we're gonna, you know, our current game is Unity. If they had already started on it more than 6 months ago, our current game is Unity, and after that, we're switching.
Yeah.
Like it went from the best engine in game development for 90% of games, well, 70% of games, best engine for 70% of games, to like the least trustworthy. Like you just can't trust them.
Let me ask you if they walk it all the way back, meaning they're like, fuck it, sorry, done, we're gonna just take it, we're gonna leave it as it was, you know, however long ago, where everybody was happy. Do you think they've made enough bad blood that people will be like, fuck you forever? I'm never using Unity ever again.
Well, damage.
Yeah.
Damage is done, man. It's a trust issue. It's a trust issue. There's an unsaid, unprofessional trust between the developer and the engine that you can count on them, especially if nothing else, to have your back, at least not to totally attempt to screw you over. And I mean, that's gone. That's absolutely gone. I mean, a lot of companies, what was it? There's the Slay the Spire devs were like, they put out this big thing about this. And at the very bottom, it's like, this is the first public announcement that we've ever made. This is how bad you up Unity. Like it's terrible. And you just see like developers getting together and issuing ultimatums. You're seeing all this stuff. I mean, it's one of those things where if you look at what's happened in the last 2 weeks and you are considering an engine, there's like an intelligence factor where it's just like, how smart is it for us to go with a company that will try to do something like this? And over the next like few months, especially for projects that can easily switch engines at like in their current state and everything, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2, 3, 4 years, when we start seeing games come out, you're just going to see the amount of Unity plummet as these projects that are, you know, now deciding which to pick are just like, screw this. We don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah. It's scary. So Zeke, like the main thing you have to imagine is the one way Unity could regain the trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would be to say, we put something in the terms that says we can't change the terms. But they did that in 2019.
Yeah.
And they quietly removed it in anticipation of this. So even if they did that, we can't trust that clause will work into the future. So straight up, they wrecked their trust by literally backstabbing. This is a knife in the back.
Well, like to that point, there was another I don't know if there's how much truth there is to it, but the CEO selling shares before this shit went down. Like, is that
okay?
Is that a true statement, or is that?
Go ahead, Rami. You know more than I do, but no is the short of it.
Okay.
The short is there were shares sold, but it's such a small amount that it doesn't really mean anything. Like, he's been selling for a very long time. It will be hard to pin anything on the CEO. That says the CEO continuously selling is always not a great. It tends to not generally be a great sign.
Sure.
Right.
So here's the interesting thing. So basically, I think it was like the 6th, so about the week before the announcement, he sold 2,000 shares.
Yeah.
Now that, of course, is like, okay, that's okay. Well, you kind of, the pendulum swings back and forth. Okay, 2,000 shares sold before a major announcement. That's damning. Okay, then you look into it more. Well, over the last year, he's sold over 50,000 shares, and he sells it every few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that doesn't sound so bad. But then you ask yourself, did he know they were going to try this a year ago, and he's just been doing it so slowly so people wouldn't question it? So it's just like, So it's a situation where it's like that sell is not a big deal. CEOs do sometimes get a bunch of options when they're brought in, and then they just treat it like a bank and slowly cash out over time. That does happen. But also it's like, maybe there is something going on here that he knew this was coming and wanted to offload that stock. So,
well,
the TLDR is we'll never know. We'll never know.
It reminds me of that scene or that episode of The Sopranos where Tony Soprano's wife Carmela was like investing just below, like, if $10,000 would have to be reported or whatever. So she was investing like $9,900, and that's what it feels like. He's selling off just the right amount, so he can't get in trouble for it.
Yeah. Also, as someone did point out in chat, and I haven't seen this written anywhere besides Twitch chat, so take it for that. But somebody did say he does own over 3 million shares. Oh. So if that is the case, then that's really not.
Is this John Riccatello? Who is the CEO?
I believe it is.
Okay, he's the former CEO of, or not former CEO, but he was high up at Activision, right? I think prior to this.
He was
he the guy? I saw this quote floating around.
So did I. That's where I was kind of getting
thing where
to.
It's like, if it was up to me, that every time somebody reloads their gun in Battlefield, it would cost them a penny or something.
Well, no. He said that we could charge players, or we should charge players, the ability to get more ammo in Battlefield. If they're out of ammo, they should be able to like swipe a card to get.
There we go. Yeah.
More ammo. Like a legitimate quote. I don't know. I would think so. I saw that floating around. I don't know like the truth to that, but
I don't know that part. What I do know is he definitely brought that idea forward to Unity, because he's doing the same thing here right now.
Right. Yeah.
I have one question that I really love to ask, and I hope it's possible.
Okay.
What happens if devs just refuse to pay? Is that possible?
Oh, and they would get sued. Yeah.
Okay, what happens? Right.
Well, it goes to a judge, right? Like they'll get sued, and then they'll go to court, and then if enough of us do it, something might happen there, because depending on where you are, it's not going to be easy to get money from a lot of developers. Like for Unity, it'll be fairly straightforward to get money out of people in the US or in I think they're in Denmark. So it will be fairly straightforward for them to get money out of those countries. Like outside of that, good luck getting money from somebody in Luxembourg. Like, I don't think the courts there are going to be like, okay, yeah, great. Like the inverse is a way more interesting question. How many people are going to sue Unity? Because that's a real conversation that's happening. So to go into a little bit of the grapevine and the like unspoken parts of everything that's happening, is trust is just shattered, right? Like Asko was saying, like the engines are such a bit, like I saw a really good explanation by Xavier Nelson, who basically said, think of an engine as a diorama, like the four walls and the floor and the roof, and then you put like little things on it on the inside and stickers. Removing the engine is like moving the walls away. Yeah, you still have the stuff, but it's laying on the ground now. And to put it back up, you're going to want to get new walls, hang everything back up, make it. So it's basically the foundation goes, right? So for a lot of devs, this is literally like life and death. Like for some devs, it's literally I have like I said, I have over 100 developers in my mention in my DMs, and I have over 15 of them that did calculations and said we will get charged more than we earn.
Well, I read that article that you had in the Messenger, and like it's like success will bankrupt you if this model continues. Like you get to a certain amount, and then you have to pay Unity so much that's like you don't want like you like I don't even know if there's a sweet spot, but like the like if you really blow up, you're fucked.
Yeah. And you know the weird part, the part that really annoys all of us is like they could literally just switch to rev share. They switch to 5% of our revenue. We're good. We're good because we know we'll always earn more than that.
Yeah.
Like if you take 5% of what we earn, we always have 95% more. So like crazy thing. Unity had to update a few of their clarifications, right? So here's one that I expect they're going to run back, or they're going to have to walk back. Somebody asked, what does revenue mean? Right? Like what counts as revenue? Because there's a lower limit, 200K in revenue and 200K downloads, right? That's the lower limit. If you're not above those, both of them, it doesn't count. They go 200K gross revenue.
That means a lot different than revenue.
You know how often in the games industry a deal is made where a publisher gives you $500,000, and then in exchange you say, until you earn back 750K, we take 0%. That's most game deals nowadays. Because the publisher puts in 500K, gives it to you, 250K goes to marketing, localization, QA, all that stuff. So until the game has made 750K, the developers get nothing. And then Unity wants to go as soon as that number where you get 0 of hits 200K, we're going to start charging you for installs? What money?
We're going to take your nothing.
Money. There's no money. So Unity came up with a great idea. You can skip this or reduce the bill by using Unity ads. They'll drop it for you. You use Unity ads in your game, you won't have to pay as much.
Oh, so that means like in a mobile game, like an ad pop-up is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Would that have been the plan all along?
Maybe. Gambling is also excluded. Gambling games, straight up, don't have to pay.
At all?
At all? Anybody under the gambling license does.
Do they have a different you said gambling license,
separate
so
license.
Like it's okay. Huh.
Different license.
Do you know the specifics of that license? I'm just curious.
I've never looked at it.
Okay.
But,
talk to me about the gambling games you've made, Rami. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. Well,
thanks for asking those questions for me, JP.
Super ridiculous slot machines.
Yeah. I didn't want to look like I am.
Also,
I became a game developer. That counts as gambling, right?
Also, I'm sure it's happening in chat. Do gacha games count as gambling?
They might, if they fall under the gambling license.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the country.
I have no
idea. Well, the license, I guess, would be Unity, not necessarily country, because the Unity would dictate within their terms what they see
okay.
as a gambling game.
Yep.
But I would be surprised if Genshin was in that. But yeah.
Probably not. So yeah, gambling is not counted. I'm sure they have an exception for military and education stuff, but like we're not sure. So revenue is ridiculous. Per install is ridiculous. Their exceptions are ridiculous. Retroactivity is ridiculous. Charging us for a thing we can't measure is ridiculous, and saying that they're going to measure something that you can't. Like they picked a fight with the biggest math nerds in the universe, and they went, "Y'all misunderstood. We can do math, you know. Like this is like one thing we're really good at: Excel, spreadsheets, numbers, that stuff. We're good at that stuff." And so their first statement when they were going to walk it back was like, "Oh, so we saw a lot of confusion." What do you mean confusion?
Man, shout out to that PR person. Just like, there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with that. Is what we're seeing from the the world right now.
Clearly, you're not understanding
You're
this.
so confused about how all of this works. Let us simplify it for you.
See, I get that because when I'm confused, I spit and stutter and like, you know, I like hold my head. It's a very similar thing to like, what the fuck why are they doing this to us? It's just insane. I can't believe, like, it's very similar, like, type of thing.
Right.
I look confused, or am I just incredulously angry?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see the difference.
I love that.
Yeah.
We just don't know. I mean, the ripple of this is huge, right? Like into the future.
I mean, it's probably one of the biggest things in the industry in a decade, if not longer, right?
I think it's the biggest thing in history.
Yeah. History.
But for everybody, it's like, okay, take this, right? Unity is the most common used tool in games education, right? It's a really good tool to start learning on, right? It's cheap. There's good educational license. Thousands of games universities have probably millions of licenses for Unity to use Unity in their school program. And that's why there's so many Unity developers. Now, most developers are making plans right now to switch out of Unity. What is education going to teach? What happens to those kids that are in school right now, in university right now, just started their first year? Their entire curriculum is Unity.
Or getting ready to graduate, right? They're going in the final year. Their entire curriculum is Unity, yeah.
Have fun. Because we don't want that.
Literally lighting their college fund on fire in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Oh
so universities
might
want to switch away, right? They might switch away. They might say, okay, you know what? Instead of Unity, we're going to do Godot or we're going to do Unreal, right? One or the other. Now, some of the larger, like AAA focused schools are already doing Unreal. Yeah. Most university that I've ever taught at, done guest lectures at, like I went to visit, they're teaching Unity. Say half of the developers doing Unity, a quarter of the developers doing Unity are switching away as soon as possible, and the other are switching away, you know, in the 2 to 5 years sort of like range. Because the company can't be trusted, right? All right. So the entire pipeline of student to development collapses because we now have 4 years of people coming out of school that do not have the hard skills that we need. Now, hard skills are weird because we also need soft skills, but like in terms of hard skills, that still means we're going to have to educate a lot of people on a tool set that they aren't used to, Godot or Unreal, right? So universities might be switching halfway through their curriculum. That's also not great because then students get taught Unity first and then Unreal after, and then they're not good at it either. That's also not what we want. So that's a problem, right? So say that entire layer of developers. The dog also doesn't like it.
He hates
entire layer of developers. Just really upset at Unity.
Yeah.
Now is in trouble. Those companies are in trouble. They have to switch. They delay their games. Like I'm talking to developers who are just like, yeah, we're switching out of Unity. We're switching to Unreal. It's going to set us back a year. We're switching to Godot. It's going to set us back a year and a half, right? But we have to switch out. There are games that were going to come out next year that are now 2025, right? Already, because people are just like, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but we don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So say that layer also collapses. Now every game studio is affected because those are trained people that are not going to get a job, that are not going to have a spot in the industry. So we're going to have this like little ripple effect that starts right now that'll ripple 2 years into the future, 4 years into the future, like everything in games does, right? So the amount of ripple that's happening here is enormous. And then what happens when Unity falls over, right? Say Unity falls over. Every developer that has invested in Unity won't be able to release on, say, I don't know, like a Switch 2, PlayStation 6, Xbox. I don't know how Xbox naming scheme works. What comes after X?
The Xbox Y.
The Triple X.
Oh, the Triple X. Yeah. That's
nice.
Phil did mention that prior to the show once.
Yeah,
one time
I actually think I think they're switching. I think it's going to become Twitterbox.
Oh.
Nice. Smart.
Very smart to just take over that brand. Yeah. It's already ingrained.
Move on
in
right
culture.
in, man.
Yeah. Makes sense. So,
No.
did Unity take the weekend off, Rami? Have there been any updates since
They've
Friday?
they've been so quiet. It's
been
ridiculous.
so, like, every morning, and I'm sure Zeke and Co got this. Most people were trying to keep track of it. And I would wake up and just be like, well, I guess maybe I can start to like look into the Unity situation. And no, there were so many updates. I was like, I'm just gonna let Rami explain. I can't keep track of it. There's so many different companies.
It's ongoing.
Yeah.
Like there's no question with as much as they've tried, they're gonna keep trying stuff.
Oh,
So
they're gonna
it's
be
like,
back
not
Monday
only-
with a statement. I'm
God
sure.
only knows. I know. I hope Rami's schedule next Sunday is clear because we're gonna need him back.
We need him back
to be week 2. I mean, yep.
Like the skill of this is unprecedented. Like this is everything in the games industry gets touched. It's not just Unity. It's Unreal games. It's AAA games. It's everything. And like on the AAA games, you won't feel it until 4 years from now. But like Unity switching. So okay, say Unity wins, right? They put this through.
Yeah.
And we take it, right? Like we go, okay, you know what? You know what's bad for us now? Updates. We don't want to do updates anymore. You know what's good for us now? Aggressive DRM. You know what's good for us now? Putting ads in premium games. Because before, a premium game was very simple. We sell you the premium game.
50,
you pay
60
the
bucks.
amount of money.
Yeah.
And then we're done. Now, every sale you make ad infinitum is a financial risk. Forever. Any sale you make becomes financial risk forever. So better put some ads in there, right? Better make 20 cents. It's the only way to make sure you don't bankrupt yourself. Exactly. Updates bad, demos bad, early access bad. All of those things are potential risks now. So say it does work out.
No more, like imagine paying for a demo.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sell demos because otherwise it's...
As soon as you hit 200K or 1 million,
Yeah.
now you have to pay for all those demos that were sold, right? Or demos that get downloaded afterwards. Lies of P might be, that's a brilliant strategy right there. If you had made a Unity game, I think it's Unreal 4, but like, if that was a Unity game, they're already getting ahead of the curve right here. Developers were joking in the DMs, like, thank God everybody on Steam just buys games and never installs them. Because like that's like fair. This,
on the Steam sale. Like, don't just at me next time, Rami, you asshole.
Yeah. Gamers have been training for this one. No, but like aggressive DRM, making people like only allow, like for example, you do a hardware upgrade. I don't know how Unity is tracking this, but if they're device fingerprinting, if you upgrade your graphics card and your CPU, that's a big enough change that it might think it's a new install.
Right.
So, okay, your upgrade now becomes bad. Should we lock your copy of the game to the current hardware config? Financially safer. So what we should do. Here's the thing. If Unity games start doing that, what do you think is going to happen to other games?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you think Activision Blizzard is going to go... You think Activision Blizzard is going to look at that and be like, oh, people are getting used to paying for demos. Well, we're not doing that.
Bobby's over there just going like, oh, that's so smart. God, why did I think of that? Yeah, he's saying, let's do it. Daddy needs a new yacht. We got to get it.
Yeah.
We got to get it. Let's charge for the install.
Speaking of rubbing your nipples, is that what the folks at UE5 are doing right now? Or?
Oh, they're having a great time.
Oh, watching Unity implode?
They had a bunch of like hot tweets, right? That was just like shitting on what Unity was doing. Yeah. Okay.
They were the Jeff Keighley to E3 for Unity, basically.
Yeah, Jeff T. Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah. I mean, even Jeff Keighley dunked on Unity. Have you ever seen?
Dude.
Any position on this kind of stuff? Never.
I think everyone was. That's the meme right now. That's the thing to do. Yeah.
Right. It's Unity. Finally, Unity in games. We've made it.
So,
but yeah, no. If this goes on, it's bad. If it stops, it's bad. If it doesn't stop, it's bad. Like whatever happens,
it's just the whole thing's bad. Everything's bad.
There's no good outcome.
What happens if?
Well, that ruins my next question. Oh, you can't see it. Shit, screen.
That's
what is the best outcome?
Well, I wish I knew. I mean, the minimum is they walk it back, right? That is the absolute minimum, because anything less than that is disastrous, right? But even if they walk it back, I don't think we can recover from this one.
Yeah,
like,
people are already swapping, right? Like they're already planning to get the fuck off the engine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which just, I wish I could explain just how big of a, because I can explain that it's like a diorama and all that, but like just the thought for me of switching engine with a team that is trained in the engine, with like, I was talking to a team, they just did a hire, right? Really good tech artist, Unity tech artist. Now, tech artists are really rare. Good tech artists are really rare. They're the people that know how to bridge the gap between code and art. They're the people that like write the most beautiful shaders, like performant, runs well, smooth, doesn't kick your game. And like these are people that do super complex math in like a 60th of a second, right? To get that on your screen 60 times a second. Like this is math that has to be executed so fast and has to do such complex stuff. Like tech artists are worth gold right now. And they're usually specialized in implementing it in one or another program, right? Yes, the tech artists, where they write, they usually somewhere in between. But like, God, these people hired a tech artist that specialized in Unity. And the thing that this person is good at is give them any effect, any visual effect, right? Anything the game needs to look like. That person has spent the last 20 years of their life basically getting better and better. And when Unity came out, they hopped on Unity straight away and they've trained their entire life for that. That person is utterly screwed, right? And the people that hire them also utterly screwed because they're going to be stuck with a really, really capable person that's going to have to spend a year figuring out how this works in.
And hopefully they're as good at that new one.
Yeah.
It's just like 15 years of just like skill just evaporates, right? And so switching engine, just the skill of this for every studio that's not like the Call of the Lamb stuff, the Slay the Spire devs, like
you were saying that Unity is what, like 60 to 70% of the market share for like all video games, right? What is second? Is it Unreal?
I think it's Unreal at the moment. Yeah.
And then you said the third one, which I'm unfamiliar with, Godot. Yeah.
So Godot is a new one actually. Godot is not very old. Godot is interesting because it's open source, and that does have some interesting implications because Godot is extremely powerful, honestly. And you might have already played some games that are in Godot because there's actually quite a bit of stuff coming out that is made in Godot at the moment.
Yeah.
Godot is open source, and that comes with benefits, right? Anybody can update the engine. Anybody can make fixes. Like you can split off Godot right now, take that version, make your own fork, and develop it in a different direction. You can totally do that, right? Their biggest problem is because it is open source and console and mobile SDKs are not, it's really hard for them to integrate support for that into the engine.
Gotcha. Okay.
You would need to do some sort of closed source semi-agreement with that. So that's kind of like their biggest challenge right now. They're figuring that one out, like, and they will, right? Like their market share is growing, and I've seen a Godot tutorial go from like 10,000 views to like 500,000 views over the last few days. So
to go back to the mobile stuff, is that because like Apple and Android don't let open source run on their platform, or what is the reasoning for that?
It's actually the other way around. So when you want to put a game on a platform, right? Those platforms usually are in some way using specialized hardware or specialized software. And to use that software or hardware or their methods of using the device, you use something called an SDK, which is a software development kit.
Right.
It's basically a collection of code that you download, and then when you have that code, you can use that code to write to something. So on an iPad, using the gyroscope, for example, you could program that yourself, but Apple has already done it for you.
Right.
So you just download the SDK, that connects with your code, you write the little bridge between your codes, and what most developers actually do is the part that we write, we abstract it. So instead of saying like, okay, left stick forward, we just have a thing that says move forward. And then we write in that if keyboard, then up key runs this code. If controller, then left stick forward runs this code. If on a touchpad, then the finger moving in this direction. So we abstract our thing, and then we use these SDKs and libraries to sort of like do the communication with. Those are usually closed source. Like Apple is not like, oh, this is open source, anybody can do whatever. No. Apple is like, this is proprietary information,
right?
And for you to, so there's this weird little thing that's happening right now, where Godot's trying to figure that one out. They have, there are some ways of doing it. There's basically a company and some services that now help port Godot games to console. But obviously, a lot of developers would like to do that in-house. So until there's a solution for that that is usable, that is a little bit of an obstacle. Most developers right now are, well, better than paying 20 cents per install, because like literally anything is better than paying 20 cents an install.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know. I really don't understand JP. Like, I got to be really honest. Like, just the fact that if they just came out after the first day of this and went like, yo, we're sorry, ref share. We're sorry, and we're putting the term back. We're putting the term back that says we can't change the thing, and we're getting that locked down. We're getting that properly locked down where they're like, we're just going to walk this back. It still would have hurt. But it would have been okay. We would have been okay. They're letting it carry over the weekend.
Yeah.
You know how for a developer that's terrified of their income, of their future, or whether they're going to have to spend 6 months unfunded, no game. You think publishers are going to buy into a Unity game right now when they don't even know what the revenue is going to be for them? Unity went and said, oh, actually, no, we're going to charge the publisher. What? Who? How? The publisher doesn't sign a contract with Unity. The developer signs a contract with Unity. The publisher never signed anything. What are they going to do? Knock on the door and be like, actually, you owe us money? Like, none of this makes sense.
Like, that would effectively blackball any publisher, like any game using Unity. The publisher would be like, what do you use? Unity?
That was already, Devolver was already out there, like, kind of joke tweeting, like, hey, what Unity, or bring your engine to pitch meetings or something like that.
Yeah. Tell us what your engine, and here's the thing, they're not joking. I mean, they are joking.
They are joking, but it's
joking.
real. It's going to happen.
But it's real. It's a real joke, because uncertainty is poison. Uncertainty is straight up poison. That's why the whole stuff with AI is complicated right now. And what Steam was just saying, like, literally no AI games. No AI games because we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know whether it's legal. We don't know whether it's illegal. We don't know how copyright works. We don't know who owns it. So how about we just don't?
No one does.
No one does. And until we do, Steam is going to say no AI-based games, right? Unity is just basically when they went like, you know what? We want some of that. We want some of that, like, just completely being blacklisted from everything. So they just made it completely uncertain what's happening right now. So no, I don't think Devolver is joking. I think they're serious for now. Like, okay, your game's Unity? Yeah, let's talk in, 2 weeks when this thing blows over.
Let this thing settle. Do you think we'll, do you think this week is the end of this saga, or does Unity continue to, like, kind of double down on a lot of stuff?
I mean, I hope they walk it back, but I don't think that's the end of the saga. I think this
damage is already done. Like, walking it back is probably the like you said, it's the best case scenario, but who the fuck would want to no one's going to look and start on Monday and be like, let's make a Unity game. Right? That's not a conversation that's going to start anymore. It's going to be like, well, I guess we could look at Unreal or Godot and move forward that way.
That's what everybody's doing. I mean, I know a lot of devs that are, that I've been talking to, that are just like, yeah, install Godot, install Unreal, just trying to see which one fits us better, right? Epic has this thing called the Mega Grant, where they pay developers for certain things, and one of the things they pay for, or they can have a little bit of the grant available for, is actually porting your game into Unreal.
Oh, really?
You know how many applications I got from developers that were just like, can you put us in touch with the Mega Grant people? Like, that's dozens that are just straight up like, if Epic has money, we're done. We're going. We're going instantly.
Yeah.
Which,
dude, I just gotta it blew my mind, like, thinking, like, this person who is specializing in porting games from other engines to Unreal is just like, oh shit, let's go. Come on, I got you. Woo!
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the best day in their life.
Fuck.
So yeah, it's just complete no. So yeah, the Saga. I think even if this goes through, there will be some sort of legal ramifications, because even if Unity walks it back, developers are going to want that clause back, right? And I know of at least 2 or 3 different legal challenges that are being prepared right now. We'll hear from those in the next few weeks. So like, no matter what's happening, this story isn't over, because even if they walk it back, just the risk of them trying it again, maybe when it's quieter or maybe when people aren't paying attention, or them walking it back now to something that we also don't like, but at least it's better than installs. Like, everybody is on high alert.
Is there any fucking possible way to, like, if they walked it back to, like, guarantee, like, we'll never do this again? Is there any way to, like, make that, like, ironclad? Like get a notary to, like, stamp
even
it or
their
some
guarantee.
shit? Like, I don't know.
They already had that guarantee, and they already went back on it. So it's like, not really. I mean, it's
exactly that. They did it. And they blew that one up. The one thing that made every developer be like, oh, at least they'll never do that again. They went like, actually, like you can't like over actually, like, like Pinky promise, like what are they gonna do? Like, they apparently can do it this time. So, if I have to invest 3 years of my life, 10 years of my studio into picking a tool, ain't gonna be Unity. My last game was in Unity. You know how angry I am? Ridiculous Fishing EX is in Unity.
That's the other thing too, is that if
it's on Apple Arcade,
if it's
free
retroactive,
downloads. Stop downloading it.
It's not even just like future games. It's games that you've already published, right? Like that's
it's anything.
So
anything.
Most people would. That result is, well, then we're just not going to sell this game anymore.
That doesn't help, because you can still install it even if we don't sell it.
Then we're just going to delist this game, right? Like, is that the final straw? Yeah, I don't know.
Is that a thing we can do? Like, I can't go to Apple. Like, Ridiculous Fishing is Apple Arcade. I can't go to Apple and be like, please stop allowing this game. Like, Apple paid us money to develop that game. I can't go to Apple and be like, y'all need to stop. You just, I know you paid for this, but you need to, like, because we're gonna be out of business if you keep, like, please stop downloading the game. I just bought a house, guys. Like, please do not download it. Please do not download Ridiculous Fishing, because I don't want to sell my house.
Stop saying the fucking name, Rami. Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
I know.
This is where you say a developer that maybe you're not super happy with. Right. That's where you promote their game.
Download Ninja Fishing a lot.
There you go.
Those people.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Those fish likes. I hate those fish likes.
Just
absolutely. So I wrote down one more question. Are the higher ups at Unity that out of touch that they didn't see this coming, or like did they anticipate this much backlash?
Here's the thing. So now we're really getting into grapevine stuff. So I'm going to be a little careful with what I say. I've been sort of like spitting, but I have to be a little careful, because a lot of the information I have is obviously from people that are close to or involved in. So,
so from this point, it's hearsay and conjecture. Go.
All of it. Basically, this is a plan that has been in the works forever, right? The idea of earning more money, because Unity's old business model was unsustainable. And it would have been sustainable if they had just stayed a privately owned company, but when they went public, they had to grow.
Yeah.
And because they had to grow, where they were wasn't good enough. So they basically upskilled aggressively. And because of that, they need to earn much more, right? They don't have a Fortnite, right, bringing in money. They don't have any other part of the business. It's just Unity, right? And they have an app business and a bunch of weird spyware businesses. Anyway, basic version, they needed more. They needed more money. So I wasn't joking about the spyware thing, by the way. Iron Source is like a big Unity.
Well, I know that was another big point of conversation, I think, the past week as well.
Yep. So in Unity, there were multiple plans, is what I understand. The rev share one, increasing the seats, different plans for studio sizes or revenue brackets, right? Those kind of things. And one of the ones was this plan. And from what I understand, everybody that I know would have probably been involved, and I trust most of these people, is anybody who had heard of this plan assumed that this wasn't going to be the one. That they were going to go for any of the other ones.
So and they all thought it was a fucking joke.
I mean, internally, they were shocked. People were shocked, furious and shocked, because a lot of people at Unity are devs, are former indie devs, are people that came from indie dev and started working for Unity, people that started their career on Unity, grew their career on Unity, and literally just suddenly just basically woke up to this. I have people that spend the first 2 days trying to calm down developers. I have them in my DMs going like, "You have any other job, mate?" Like, they're leaving.
Yeah, a lot of people are resigning.
Yeah, they were just like, "I can't do this. I can't talk to developers. I can't tell developers it'll be okay. It's not going to be okay. I need out." I was like, can you imagine? Until last week, Unity was the most developer-friendly engine in the world. This was the thing that you start training on as a kid. 4-year-olds are getting Unity practice in a kindergarten experiment. I'm not even kidding. People
it's wild, man.
making count. People. This is where you start. This is where you build your career, and then and then eventually you end up working at Unity, and then they pull this shit while you're there, and now developers are asking you, why are you screwing us over like this?
Yeah. Someone was saying in my chat too, just for a point of comparison, that Unreal has, is it 4,000 employees? Or sorry, Epic has 4,000 employees, and Unity has 7,000 employees.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Epic has Fortnite money.
Yeah, that's crazy to consider 7,000 employees, and there is no Fortnite.
I hope 3,500 of those are customer support, because Unity also said if anything goes wrong with this and you don't like our numbers, email customer support.
Nice.
I don't even trust customer support to refund me my parking ticket, mate. You think customer support is going to go and be like, yes, 160K? Yeah, we know you have no way to check it. Our algorithm, it was probably wrong. You're right. Here's 160K back. And that happens after you pay. It's also gross. You bring out a game. It makes 200K. Okay? And for some reason, it goes super viral. People start installing it. DRM free goes out. Pirated version gets installed 1 million times, right? Or 10 million times. Now you owe them, what, 2 million or something? Now you owe them 2 million. You made 200K. You think the customer support is going to fix that before the invoice is due? Even better, when that money comes in before your taxes and the invoice comes in after your taxes? You pay 50% taxes over that money. This can't be.
Yeah.
Genuinely, this can't be. It's not right. It's not fair. It's not ridiculous. It's just, I don't know, man. It's devastating. I'm genuinely I'm upset. I'm not easily upset about things in the games industry. I've seen a lot of weird stuff in our industry. I've seen things where I'm like, that's not good for games. This is devastating to the games industry at scale, for everybody, for gamers, for developers, for publishers, for platforms, everybody.
Let me play the devil's advocate here and ask you, in the long run, even with all the bad blood, even with all the people fucking jumping ship and all that shit, if Unity institutes this, do they end up making a profit? Do they end up getting more money?
Yep, they will. The problem is, most of the games industry, and I tweeted this the other day, but the most of the games industry works under you win, we win. Right? You make more money, we make more money. That's the basic deal of the games industry. Unity went with we win, screw you. That's it. That's their new thing.
That's company motto.
They're going to make a lot of money really quickly, right? Because even just the Genshin money, even if it's just Genshin.
Well, Genshin is like the big one, right? But how many would you say like percentage of mobile games of that size? Granted, nothing's really of that size. How many of the like popular mobile games out there use Unity? Is it as high as like 80%?
Probably 70%. Yeah, okay. I mean most mobile games are Unity. Like, remember that one game that Epic did that was Unreal on mobile? That's about as far back as I can remember mobile games. It was Infinity Blade.
Yeah, Infinity Blade.
That's about as much as I can remember Unreal mobile games. There's not a lot of Unreal mobile games. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Pokemon Go, Genshin Impact, Hearthstone, Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting to think about too the way that mobile games prior to launch are marketed is like pre-download available now. That if this goes through, I don't see them doing that anymore. Because if you have, 10, 30, however many millions of downloads prior to launching before anyone can even spend a cent in game, that'll just cost you right there.
As soon as you hit 200K, the invoice is going to come in.
Yeah.
So,
kind of crazy.
It's great. Love it. It's great.
Mario Kart 2.
Mario Kart on
Nintendo's. Mobile? Yeah, Mario Kart Tour.
Tour. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same, obviously, but it's Nintendo has their hat in there.
Oh, I mean, pretty much every major game.
Yeah.
Publisher developer has something on Unity at some point, whether it's retroactive, so it's not even like current. And we didn't even talk about the idea that like what does this mean for live service games that are on Unity, right? Live service games are probably the most downloaded games out there because that's how those games work. You play them for a week or two, and then you put them down and wait for the update.
The nice thing that Microsoft is doing where they say play anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's true. Yeah, that hurts them. That hurts them.
Let's not do that. You know what would be great, though? Streaming only. Because you never install it. Saves us some money.
Yeah,
does anybody want to never own a game again? Because that would be nice. Like, that would be great in the light of Unity things. Just
people love that.
Only.
I never thought about that, but like NVIDIA, what is that? What's that? The streaming game service that you own, but they install it on their end. You play it. GFX.
Something like that. Yeah.
GeForce.
Great.
Yeah.
GeForce Now.
GeForce Now.
There it goes. There it is. Yeah. NVIDIA GeForce Now. Like, I mean, like if it helps the developers, like I'll look up a list of Unity games. Like those are the games I'm playing on GeForce Now.
Yeah. I mean, Stadia would have a massive selling point if this goes through, if they still existed, right?
Maybe this is a big Unity play to get Stadia back.
Well,
maybe they made a little like side deal with Google.
I've seen a lot of people in chat kind of jokingly saying like, maybe someone buys Unity. Is that even a thing where like Apple or a Microsoft or if everything's kind of a land grab right now, wouldn't you want to get the biggest engine in video games under your company portfolio? And probably
for cheap. Looking to make money, right?
Yeah.
But maybe he's tanking the stock so much that it's affordable for someone to buy.
I mean, how is the stock doing? Because
it's pretty
sadly,
bad.
The last time I checked, it was starting to recover a bit again.
Oh, I haven't looked. I looked on like Friday and saw that it tanked, obviously, on like the 13th or 14th when all this hit. But
it's it's -2 in the past 5 days, but it's still plus 1.9 over the past month.
Yeah,
it's starting to climb again. Like, here's the thing: everybody's going to realize, everybody that's involved in the stock is going to realize that this is going to make a lot of money for you. Like, it'll tank the company long run.
Yeah,
it'll tank the company long run. But it's a public company, so like that's not a concern. Like that's not the.
I mean, how much? Like, let me ask you this, Rami: if your Unity or if Unity exists, right, and you have all these companies that are on social media and being against it, but Genshin, Hoyoverse, Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, like the big ones, the ones that they're obviously going after, if they're just like, Okay. Do they just say fuck it and move forward?
They're gonna move forward. Like, here's the thing. You know the scariest thing about this? I think they're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
I think what they're
At this
doing
point?
is there's no reason to carry this over the weekend. Like, the amount of uncertainty this weekend has created, the amount of time people have had to sort of be scared, it's almost like course reversing now is like the worst of both worlds,
Yeah.
right? You screwed everybody over, and then on top of that, you're not getting the money. Like, I don't think they're gonna reverse. Like, unless there's a legal challenge that they can't overcome, they might come with like an exemption, right? If you're under an amount of people, or like if you I don't know, like they'll come up with some condition to exclude most of the people that are upset about this, right? That's probably the play, but I think they're gonna go through with it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're walking it back,
Well, and
which
who's
is
to say? I
terrifying.
mean, if you want to get super cynical about it, who's to say they don't already have custom contracts in place with the big ones, where it's not,
I mean,
the standard rate of
that's
installs.
usually how it goes.
Yeah. You make those people happy, and you fuck everyone else because fuck everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think they tried to screw everybody over, but like, then they went and I know of secret conversations that have been happening between Unity and groups of developers, and I know of like some initiatives that might or might not come to fruition. And at this point, there's so much grapevine that even I don't feel comfortable just being like, well, I've heard this. Normally I'm like, I can tell you that I heard at Unreal there was a little party. Like, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
like that's
sure.
not. And I'm sure that Unreal might be looking at the opportunity of expanding some of that grant available for porting, right? Like, those are things, but like in Unity, there are so many developers just waiting for clarity right now that I don't feel comfortable being like, okay, well, I've heard this. It's like, what if that isn't true, or what if they walk it back? Like, my feeling right now is they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
They're gonna adjust until people stop yelling, and then they're gonna do it. And unless developers can give them a real financial like punch in the nether regions,
punch in the
it's
dick.
just we can do that. Okay. Unless
Wait, isn't
somebody
that
can
where
just,
you
like,
live though? Don't you live in the nether regions?
yes, actually, that is correct. You know what?
Good answer.
All right.
Bad joke,
they
but
can
good
just-
answer.
If they can just get like a good uppercut, like in the balls, effectively, financially or legally, it might stop. But if not, then and it needs to be a good uppercut, like
Well, talking on
So
the
if
sides
they
of,
were,
well, go ahead, because I'll phrase.
I was going to say, if they were stopped in that way, where it wasn't their choice, what would that mean at that point?
Yeah,
Like if
that's
that
kinda what I was
was
gonna
what
ask.
it took to stop them.
right. I mean, at that point, I think the directors would have to step down. Just like they lost a lot of money and they lost a lot of trust, and then Unity will install a new board that will try to undo the damage and try to rebuild the trust, and they might get some of that back. I think the entire board of directors effectively stepping down would go a long way towards restoring trust.
But the likelihood
they
of
make
that
a lot of
happening,
money,
yeah,
so they ain't doing that.
yeah.
I mean, it's the EA guy. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but that person is
When you leave EA for a company, I mean,
right.
clearly something's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking on like
But yeah.
the size of scale, Rami. I mean, we've mentioned so many different games that are a part of Unity, and you might not have this information, at least at your fingertips, but like scale wise, all the companies that I've seen on Twitter post so many different things about how they want Unity to push this back. I've seen at least 20 or 30 of those messages.
Mm-hmm.
How close are those people to the scale of like the Hoyoverse? Like, is
I mean,
it apples to oranges? Like, do they even?
Yeah.
Is it like a whisper compared to the actual megaton that is this this Goliath?
So really, there's been two separate responses, right? There's the indies, and those teams are usually say like 8 to 20 people, right? Those are the ones that you've been hearing from are like, oh man, let's say 8 to 40, 8 to 40 ish.
Very well respected games, you know, massive games in their own right. But like, what I'm trying to get across is like, how big is Hoyoverse? Like, they're fucking stupid huge, right?
Hoyoverse is completely ridiculous. Like the scale of that is ridiculous. It's also, you know, people often ask me like, you know, don't you? I get this question a lot about voting with your wallet, right? Like, you know, oh, we'll just vote with our wallet, and I always tell people like, you are voting with your wallet. All the stuff you don't like in games is there because it makes more money than the thing you do like in games, and it's really sad to realize that. But like, big gacha, free to play, sell outfits, like, you know, updates, like that stuff. That's what sells.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff I make, where you buy for it once, you pay it once, and then you play it forever. That's not the thing people pay money for. You know what makes big money? FIFA, with their like gambling loot box card, whatever.
Yeah,
that makes money. That's what voting with the wallet means. We're just outvoted. We're just continuously outvoted. Hoyoverse is an example of that. That game makes more money than any same thing you could possibly imagine. I have no idea what the revenue numbers now, because I just stopped looking at just completely bonkers numbers.
There was one of the gachas that I forget the name of, but they crossed over 1 trillion yen like this past month, which is like
just
what?
Everything when it comes to
I think it was Fate Grand Order. Yeah.
Fate Grand. Yeah. But, you know, pay for a thing and then it works is not what people pay for. What people pay for is it's kind of broken and it has lots of things you can buy, and we'll update it once a week or twice a week with a cute little outfit, and then pay for that.
Yeah. To be fair, the outfits are really cute.
They're super cute.
Let's be really cute.
They're a lot of hard work from the artists. They're very. I mean, Nikkei's got fantastic assets, Rami. Okay,
and
fantastic.
Assets.
Yes. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Anyways, he's gone. We've lost him. We'd like to announce that Drop Frames is now sponsored by Unity.
Wait a minute. What did you do?
Rami's gone, so I had to drop it. I had to drop it. You're now going to be charged.
Somehow you're going to make this my fault, aren't you?
1 cent for every VOD play. I think that's the best way to do it.
That's it. But can you imagine what would happen if Twitch now came to you guys and said, okay, so listen, no big deal, but every view that your videos get from now on, we're going to charge a cent.
We're going to charge you for the bandwidth. Yeah.
You say that as a joke. That has been like a fear for us for basically the entire time, because that's how like Twitch, this whole like ads thing, and how Twitch is trying to make more money and how Twitch is not profitable and those all discussions. It's kind of like, well, what's going to happen when Twitch one day decides like, yeah, you want to stream on the platform? Well, you're going to pay us for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not going to like this whole like, we're going to take your sub revenue. No. We're just going to ratio take however much you cost us. Correct. So, you know,
you want to know what might inspire them to do that? Unity getting this.
If this works. Yeah.
If this works, it works, right? Like, what are y'all going to do? Go to, what was the competitor nowadays? I don't remember what the competitor was.
We're all going to go to Kick.
Anything else?
We're all going to
I don't want to go to punch.com.
So, just saying, like, these are things, like, if they get away with it, it's going to really suck. It's going to suck for games because...
Well, it'll have a ripple effect in every industry, yeah.
Oh, but, like, in games, like, I can guarantee you, the Bobby Kotick thing you were doing, that's 100% accurate.
Yeah. I would also
100%.
say, like, if the Maxes, the Warner Brother Media Group of the world, Discovery, whatever, the streamers rather, not us, but like the people that stream or have streaming platforms, not Twitch, but I'm saying like Max, Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
What if you like could only watch those films if you paid X cents a view, a play, a start? And now it's no longer monthly. It's, oh, you're going to pay 5 cents. If you want to binge this entire season, that'll be $5, right?
That will be towards
and it kind of already exists. Yeah, but it'll be on the user side, not necessarily the, yeah.
This is aimed at the creator side, at a thing that the creators aren't earning money from.
And at that point, we're just at pay-per-view.
How fast Spotify would implode if they said every musician now has to pay a cent per listen.
Yeah, I mean, I can see so many other industries doing that. Yeah,
yeah,
it would ripple through all of them if they could somehow. I would say that like the gaming industry is probably the one that gets the most up in arms about this stuff that I know of. Granted, I'm in it, so maybe I'm just not in those other industries. So if they can sneak it by all of us, then everyone else just could be like, "Fuck, they're making a lot of money."
We're not as well organized. Like, you're watching the movie situation with the strikes, and they're very good at organizing, and those are very old unions. But like in the games industry,
decades, yeah,
we haven't quite figured this stuff out yet. I'm seeing somebody saying Pirate Life is back on the menu, boys. Like, please do not pirate our games because we don't know if that counts as an install. We straight up do not know if that counts as an install. If it counts as an install, just please, whatever version of the game you're downloading, please stop installing our games.
Stop playing our games, please.
Just backlog only, okay? Like, you want to buy our games, backlog, nothing else, okay? If you want to play a game, buy an Unreal game, okay? You want to buy a game to support the devs but never play it? No, offline only doesn't help, y'all. Stop it. It's installs.
Do it like you would a movie. Just go to Wikipedia, read the plot, and then move on to the next one.
That's it. If you really want to feel like you played the game while reading the Wikipedia, just grab your controller and just press buttons. Okay? Just pretend. But do not install, please. Like, straight up, like, I'm actually not even kidding. Please do not install Ridiculous Fishing EX right now.
What is the easiest way to see, like, I download and install a bunch of indies like every week for Indie Day. Like, what is the best way to see which ones are Unity and which ones aren't?
This is one of my favorite stories about Unity and Unreal. So, Unity and Unreal have very different strategies, right? So, if you get an Unreal game, right? You know that splash screen at the start? Because gamers don't know what engine you're using, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to know. Like, a developer could look at it and be like, okay, yeah, sure. I that's probably Unreal, or that light looks like that. So, when you boot up a Unity game and it's not a commercial one, it shows the Unity logo. But when it's a commercial one, it doesn't.
What do you mean by commercial one?
You can opt out of showing the logo as part of the commercial contract.
Big Unity game.
Oh,
the big Unity games, like all the lamps, it doesn't start with showing Unity.
Right.
So, Unity's commercial contract says that you can turn off the Unity logo. If you don't have the commercial contract, you don't have the Pro license or the Plus license, you have to have the Unity logo at the start. Unreal has the opposite. If you use the free version, you can't use the Unreal logo at the start. But if you use the Pro version, if you have a license with them, you have to put the Unreal logo. So here's what people started thinking. They started thinking the Unreal logo means quality video games. Because it was always in front of games with commercial budgets.
Fuck, that's actually right.
And people started attaching the Unity logo to like hobbyist things and people that made a game on their first try and just put it on the internet.
Not even trying to hide it. I've started games on stream and been like, oh shit, this is a Unity game.
Unity game. Yep. It's straight up.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that or think about that. Knowing that, that's wild.
Yep. It's literally, you get the Unity license, you can drop the logo. So every developer goes, we don't like that. Let me delete that logo.
Huh.
Because at some point, the negative connotation got so bad that we just don't want to show the logo.
Sure.
Like, we hide that. We don't. Oh, Unity. Oh,
Yeah.
Unreal. Go to put it in front of it, because now you're like with all the big games that are paying you like big Unreal bucks.
We saw that with. I mean, there was a fairly, at least in our socials, there's a fairly significant conversation around Armored Core. With like, why isn't this game made in Unreal Engine? It looks bad. This game looks dated. Like, why can't they just make an Unreal Engine game, or make this an Unreal? Like, that's that in effect right there.
Can I have 2 minutes?
Sure. You got 40-ish. Yeah.
Yo, please listen. I'm gonna try and explain this once.
Okay.
An engine is like Lego blocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Lego blocks, and every game
is Unity the Roblox then? Or wait, not Roblox. What's the?
Oh no,
it's like the Duplo, the like really big, like the bigger one, right?
Yeah.
Engines are not one thing. They're many things. They're graphics rendering, their network code, their input code. They are the way you structure information. They're the way you structure scripts. They're the way your team collaborates. Every engine in the existence of video games is built for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal was originally built for shooters. High graphics, fast rendering, fast moving stuff. You know what Unreal is really good at? Fast moving, high quality graphics, fast rendering stuff. That's what Unreal was built for, right? Unity was built for smaller educational purposes, mostly, right? To teach people how to make video games. And it mostly leaned towards mobile. So a lot of the functionality in Unity is pointed towards mobile. But it also counts for every other engine, right? EA's engine and Frostbite, right? That originally was, let me remember what that was. That was a shooter engine as well.
It
was a shooter engine as well.
Battlefield, right?
Yeah, it was Battlefield.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do a racing game in Frostbite, the guns had a car. The cars had a gun. It was invisible, you wouldn't render it, but that engine literally did not know how to render a character without a gun attached, right? The Bethesda engine, right, is optimized for that specific purpose. Big open world RPGs. It loads in chunks in a very smart way. Every engine has a purpose. And moving things from one engine to another might just straight up not work. It might just not be possible because that engine isn't built for that. Now, we can rewrite the engine to do it, but it will be, you might as well use another engine.
It's
right?
time and money at that point, yeah.
Every engine sort of has a purpose, right? And that purpose is a combination of what it was meant to do and what gets built on top of it. And now over the years, a lot of companies, when they use one engine, they make their own little Lego blocks, and those get added on top. And then when you make a new thing, you already have to start to work with. So it's very easy to just go, okay, you know what? We're doing a new Fallout. But it makes sense that because I saw this discussion about Starfield a lot. Why isn't this? Why isn't this? Why isn't this? It's because they literally had 20% of the game there already. And doing it at something else would have delayed that game by another 75 years.
Yeah.
Like all of us would have been we would be in an era where all of us were like gray and like grumpy.
Well, I mean, some of us are already there, Rami. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, I'm getting there. Anyway, every engine has its own strengths, and most developers are mostly trying to sort of like hack their way around the edges of engines. So if we can just please stop if this was in this engine, like it would not have been better. I can guarantee you right now, whatever engine the thing was developed in is the only way that game got developed. Because any other engine, the team that made it would have had to learn how to use it, and the game just wouldn't have been made because that's too expensive. You're not going to put a team that has practiced in the Bethesda engine for 15 years and go like, you know what? We have a crazy idea. How about y'all learn Unreal? It's gonna be great. Like no. You want to switch to Unreal? You do a shooter. That's how you learn Unreal. You do the thing it's good at. That's it. So engines, stop discussing engines. Just straight up stop discussion. It's a useless discussion. It's straight up a useless discussion.
Yeah.
Because games, we don't go and go like, what can our engine do? It's not a discussion we're having. It's just like what the engine can do is usually what we're good at because we've built stuff on the engine that we're going to use. Like you can't switch, you can't flip it around. You can't. You know what's a useful conversation is what if another developer made this game? That's a fun one. That's fun to think about. Different prioritizations, different like strategies, different engine. Absolutely. But the people that made the game doing that game, no. Absolutely. I would love to see what a Ubisoft version of Armored Core would have looked like. I probably wouldn't have liked it more, but like I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I would like to play a big robot punchy game by Ubi. I'll play it.
See what it looks like.
Make it Ubi Toronto. They did that cool spaceship game.
Yeah.
I just went through like the last 20 games on my Steam list that I've played and installed. And 17 of them are Unity out of 20. And do I need to apologize?
Did you
my
install them?
longer going to?
Yeah, they're installed, and I've played minutes of them.
I told you not
every Saturday.
Stop it.
I didn't just do it.
Every Saturday,
over the last 2
Zeke
weeks
is bankrupting a bunch of indies. He's just throwing them out of money on Indie Sunday.
Fuck, man. What
honestly,
do I do as a gamer that downloads and installs a bunch of games? What do I do?
It's insane.
I gotta say, I expected better than you.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I thought
I
you
did
loved
too.
video games.
These.
I thought you loved video games.
It's wild.
Yeah,
It's
it
wild.
was really
Not that we're done with the Unity conversation by any means, but you brought up the Hollywood and SAG-AFTRA briefly.
Mm-hmm.
There is a tie-in to that, as now the SAG-AFTRA president, Fran Drescher, is urging members to approve the strike authorization against video game companies as well. So that means any basically voice acting members that are part of SAG-AFTRA will no longer be promoting or working within the industry whatsoever. And I think that's a large majority of voice actors. I think most of them are a part of SAG-AFTRA. So yeah, that could come this next week or so.
I mean, last time the voice actors striked, I actually worked on their side to work on an indie contract and figuring out sort of how to communicate with the games industry, because it's a tough one. A lot of people don't like the idea that there are people now holding up game development, but it's needed. This industry is not this to zoom out a little on Unity. This industry is not well. It is not doing well. Video games is in the worst spot I've seen it in forever.
I think you look at what happened with Unity, and that whole situation is a great example of what this industry is currently in, right? It would be completely different if there was organizations and groups built around making sure that shit can't happen or won't happen. Instead, it's just a large amount of outcry on social media, and that's kind of it. And some there's some conversations happening behind the scenes, but there's no unifying group out there with one collective voice. It's a bunch of Twitter messages, ultimately.
It's a bunch of it's basically people like me using their Twitter to make clear that to spread this. But there's no we don't have a centralized way of saying okay, you know what, we'll just all turn off. So actually, we talked about the two responses, right? The one response is the indies, and that's a relatively small part of the industry when it comes to Unity. But the second part is a bunch of the really big mobile developers and publishers have said, okay, we'll turn off the Unity ads in our games.
I saw that.
Turn them off. Just straight up going to turn them off. That's billions of downloads that have now turned off ads. What? That's a lot of money. I don't know. The industry is in a bad place, and it's weird because the best example of what happens when the industry is in a good place just came out. right? Baldur's Gate 3 is what happens when the games industry, privately owned, lots of time, good funding, ability to build on their expertise over years. That's how you get video games like that. But the ridiculous thing is, none of us can do that. None of us can do that. There's not a lot of people are like, why aren't more games like Baldur's Gate 3? We can't. How do you make Baldur's Gate 3? You need you need a time machine. Go back 15 years in time, start your studio, somehow makes just slightly enough like hit size that you can grow your studio a little bit, and then when you have the reputation, find a way to get the IP that you want to work on. There's the industry right now, the gap is too big between starting and getting to where Larian is. Like you can't make that leap. There's no way of doing it. Like people starting now, they need like 2 million in funding to make an indie game. Like Call of the Lamb, good luck competing with that. That's not even a big game. You need 2 mil to make a game that is like that. Mil.
Yeah.
The fact that I grew up a poor boy. Right? I grew up with like a mom and dad. Dad's a teacher. Mom worked in bureaucracy things. Right? We didn't grow up with a lot of money. Like I get to go on holiday once a year to Egypt because that's where the family lived. The fact that I say the word mil, talking about million, right? As if it's the most normal thing in my life. That's how big the games industry has gone. When I started, Duck Noodles was what I talked about. You buy 2 packets of Duck Noodles and you can work a day. Now I'm sitting here going like, yeah, so I think 1.5 mil would be a good budget for the game. What do you mean 1.5 mil? I don't even recognize myself talking about the budgets that you need in games right now. It's terrifying. But it means that the publishers have too much control. It's not the developers that are making the games. It's the publishers telling you what games we can make. And I love Devolver, but and I love Raw Fury, and I love a lot of people there. But the effect they have on the industry is that smaller groups of people decide what games get made. Game Pass decides what games get made. Devolver decides what games get made. Because I can't compete with Duck Noodles anymore. Like, 2 people started Vlambeer. We just ate cheap noodles, and so we could make games. And then every game did a little better, and that's how we made Vlambeer for 10 years. But like, a Baldur's Gate? No, hell no. That's what? How long did they work on that? 6 years?
6-7 years, yeah.
Yeah.
There are 400 people?
Yeah, right now I think that's what they scaled up to.
Say a salary. Who has a calculator? Say a salary is €2,500 in Belgium. Or say 3,000. Say 3,000 euros. 3,000 euros times 400 times 6. What is that number?
7.2 million.
And that to get there, you need to train all those people the 12 years before it. Wait, 7.2? That's 7.2 is.
Well, it wouldn't be okay. Never math on stream. Rule number 1 of streaming.
Right.
And you have to times
I feel
12,
like you
right?
forgot something.
You would have to times it by 12, right? Because it would be 3,000 per month. So it's it's 36.
Multiply by 12. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the Larian,
it gets crazy.
Though, I think that argument is mostly to like the the rock stars and the Blizzards and the things like that in terms of quality. I would hope that people understand that Larian is not something to be compared to indie games or anything of that nature. But I mean, you do have companies like Owlcat that aren't coming close in terms of the AAA, but the content and getting their niche. And I mean, arguably Owlcat might be Larian 5 or 6 years ago, and kind of on their way to becoming that kind of more specialized company. And there's other companies that are kind of in their own genres that are making strides in that regard as well. But I mean, what do you think of things like Kickstarter and the rise that we're seeing more like angel investment opportunities and things like that? I mean, there's still money going into the gaming industry. Do you think it's maybe more of the fact that you now need to wear that financial hat to kind of stay relevant and up?
Yeah, I mean,
publishers.
You just need more money to keep up with the publishers, right? Like because like Blizzard publicly owned, right? So like they don't have their free will. They're effectively like puppets, right? Larian is private. It's just a private game development studio with 80 million funding. That just doesn't happen. Like Blizzard can't touch it. They just straight up can't. Like they cannot do a Baldur's Gate 3 because they have money people sitting at the top deciding what needs to happen, right? Like we're not in a good spot. Like money wise, the fastest Kickstarter is risky, mate. Because think of it this way, right? You want to do a video game, and you need 10. You need several.
Who knows?
You need several $1 million, right?
You're talking to me right now, right, Rami? That's who you're direct.
Yes,
yeah.
JP.
Rob,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Kickstarter is crazy, right? It's wild.
Yeah.
But is the
if you want to get money, right? You want to get money from a publisher. You go to a publisher. You say, "Can I have $3 million?" The publisher goes, "No." Now nobody knows they said no. So you can go to the next publisher and ask, "Hey, can we get $3 million?" And then they say no, and then you keep moving on. You do a Kickstarter once, and you don't make the amount of money, you're done. You're never talking to anybody about money again because you put it in the public, and if you fail in public, that's end of story. You will never get a single dollar from anybody. Yeah, you're done. Like if you succeed at your Kickstarter, yeah, that's good news. But then you have to figure things out, and if you were short on finances or anything, whatever happened, you're still going to fail in public, and that's harsh. Like that's the thing that sticks. That's so Kickstarter is risky. So for a lot of developers, when it comes to making those choices, they don't. The Kickstarter is not really an option anymore. Like you need to get funding. So to get funding, you need to make something that the publishers want, but the publishers don't have money at the moment because the economy got bad and money is expensive. So nothing is getting funded. Like I help developers get funding, mate. Like I've never seen a drought like this. Like games where I'm like, if the people in this audience could see some of the games that I've worked with that just can't get funding, they'd be funded. They'd be funded, like because people would look at it and be like, "Oh my god, I want this." But the publishers right now are scared. They're terrified. They're not funding anything. So,
which is even it's even more unfortunate because you see like some publishers that are taking this shotgun approach with their games, and they'll just keep releasing like game after game after game after game, and none of them are gaining traction.
Yeah,
and they just keep trying to push them, or like, and then it's definitely an unfortunate situation. Just because I would love for you to clarify a little bit about this. So when you were saying like Blizzard couldn't make a Baldur's Gate 3, is the argument there that the people at the top would not want to put the resources necessary into the game to make it of that quality level because they know they wouldn't get their return, essentially?
So yeah, the risk is too high, and B, the amount of legacy knowledge that you need to make a Baldur's Gate is also too long. Like the churn at an Activision Blizzard is relatively high, right? Senior leadership tends to stay, but like people in between tend to leave a little faster. So if developers stay there for 5 to 10 years, that'd be pretty rare. Larian is like a purpose studio. There's not a lot of purpose studios, like studios where from the start they've had this one goal, and like you could argue that the goal was Baldur's Gate 3, right? From like the start of Larian, this is what they've been doing. They've never shied away from that goal. Like this is it, the RPG to overcome all RPGs. And so they've hired for that. The people that work there, they work there for that. The salary that I just mentioned, $3K, that's a European salary. That's $36K a year, right? Like you listen to a US studio and you try offering $36K, that ain't happening. All of the developers at Larian could make 3, 4, 5, 6 times as much by just moving to the US, and they don't, because this is the studio. This is what they want to do, and they never shy away from that goal. They're laser focused. That ain't Blizzard.
Passion, though.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The Blizzard can't do that. Developers are getting moved around projects. Oh, you're working on an RPG. You're working on a card game now. Actually, it's going to be a shooter. We're killing the shooter. Actually, it's an RTS again. Like,
they follow the trends or whatever.
Because that makes money and it's less risky. So you got that weird situation where actually companies that make 5, 6, 7 times as much as Baldur's Gate ever is going to make cannot compete with Larian. Like Larian is a unicorn. There's nothing like Larian in this industry. Well, there's a few. Like you might argue Hoyo Games is fairly similar, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think like there's some, but they're not in the same genre. That's for sure. But it's like, I see exactly what you're saying with that.
So, That's kind of the spooky part about all this is like a healthy industry would be pumping out Baldur's Gate 3 quality games. Like a healthy version of this games industry would be making games like that because people would start a studio with a purpose of making a specific kind of thing, and they would just get better at doing that specific thing year over year over year. And you can see it, like, right? Look at No Man's Sky. The people that work on No Man's Sky are the people that work on No Man's Sky. They're, as far as I remember, they're still private, right? So they can just do whatever the heck they're doing. Which is why No Man's Sky went from being what it was to where it is now. They just keep investing their money into it. The developers there, as far as I know, most of the core team that worked on the original is still there. And they're getting better and better and better at making No Man's Sky. And you want to know how good No Man's Sky is? I mean, with no disrespect to Starfield, compare it to Starfield.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, they're completely different games, but the sense of scale and scope that No Man's Sky grabbed was what Starfield tried to grab. It's just when they started on Starfield, there was no Man's Sky. There was no way to imagine. Like, yeah, Starfield is a lot more like hard sci-fi look, so there's empty planets. But, you know, if No Man's Sky had come out 5 years earlier, I think Starfield would have stolen a bunch from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm tired, man.
It's been a week for you, man.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
It has been a week.
Oh my lord.
I would be upset if I didn't at least mention some of what's happening in Destiny with you on the show. For those unaware, Destiny right now is dealing with its Destiny 2 is dealing with probably the biggest exploit, I guess is a proper term for it. But Bungie has basically just come out and said, like, yeah, we can't really fix it. The quote literally said, go and have fun this weekend, and we're going to try and figure it out. The short of it is, in Destiny 2, you can craft weapons. There is a exploit that was found through manipulation of slowing your game down enough to when you're crafting a weapon, you can apply exotic perks to normal weapons, which is not something that can be done. So the game is completely fucked right now.
Just utterly busted.
Like, I can't actually put this. It is the unity of video games right now. This is currently where Destiny 2 is at. That is a SMG firing grenades at rapid rate. You can solo,
as they do,
literally anything in the game without any real tribulation or difficulty. This is only one version of it. There are so many different guns. Another version of it is that people have taken a machine gun, which has a 900 RPM fire rate. And in said machine gun, they have replaced it with, instead of machine gun, it fires 12 shotgun pellets each shot. And so you're effectively firing, do the math, out every single second, whatever. Yep. There's people that have taken linear fusion rifles, which are a single shot weapon that does a shit ton of damage, and also applied the shotgun to it. So then it fires 12 single shot massive weapon things, and they're like 3-shotting raid bosses. And by 3-shotting, I mean shooting 3 times and
actually 3-shotting
and killing a boss. So it's and like effectively Bungie has no way of dealing with this. They did tweet out that their plan is to turn off all weapon crafting within the game. And then
get rid of all the other
guns?
And then
get rid of all the other guns, that basically turn off guns that were crafted with that exotic perk, is I think how they're going to try and fix it.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean,
we'll see what happens. It's fucking wild. PvP is a nightmare right now.
It's amazing.
Oh, is it even?
It's stupid. Because,
it's everywhere.
Yeah. It's in every facet of the game. Raids, PvP, dungeons, everything. it's completely busted. And so if you're at all curious, or to be honest, since they're not going to ban for any of this, if there's something that you really want to farm or do that's difficult and you want to use the easy way to do it, that was a great time to jump in.
I love Destiny so much.
It's really wild. Yeah.
They just announced that they're extending the delay. But yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those things where, as a game developer, really all you can do is just sort of like, huh? Oh God. You know, like I
No, dude, this is like Black Friday for Destiny, bro. This is like all bets are off. Let's fucking go raid.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do this. Woo!
Yeah. People are having a great time with it. But like the beauty of these kind of bugs is that they'll be remembered fondly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like it breaks the game, right? Not even like a large part of good game development is we create friction, right? You want things and we don't give them to you. That's our job, right? That's literally our job. Is you want this, you can't have it, right? And this is what happens when you can have whatever you want. This is what happens. So it turns out this is great for a little bit, and then it turns out literally everything in the game is no longer fun because you can beat anything by staring at it. So
yeah,
the fun will be fun for about a week, actually probably a few days.
Well, that's
then
it's
over.
It's scary, right? Because if they can't fix it that fast, what the fuck does that game become? Right? Like when all of your content is completely nullified of any difficulty and in a lot of ways worth.
Yep.
Why the fuck do you play? Right?
PvP is no longer fun because like literally PvP is just like whoever has crafted the most meta thingy imaging, and then if you haven't done the bug, you're just out.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, this is great. I love it. I'm so happy this is here. I'm also really happy that they're treating it like a fun weekend.
Yeah, they're just kind of like have fun.
That is. I've seen a lot of people very angry about it. That seems like a very cathartic view.
Well, that's what Bungie is officially saying. Just have fun. Yeah, the community is the Destiny community. So,
yeah, I mean, people will be angry.
Well,
like,
I mean, how would you feel if like you spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours grinding to get this or that, the other thing, and then this weekend, you know, Joe Casual schlub guy, fucking, he's like, I just did all the raids and got all the things.
Yeah. No, I mean
that's gonna make some jealous ass people pretty angry. But
you're right.
Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys anyways.
100%. It's going to be like
seriously.
I mastered.
Like the achievement should be yours to cherish.
That's right. Yeah, I did this triumph thing or whatever in the game. Oh, but when'd you do it? Oh, well, I did it September 16th. Oh, so you didn't do it. You cheated.
Solo self-found, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to become that. So it's absolutely crazy. This is just to give a shout out. This is Dato's video for anyone that wants to watch it. Just DATTO on YouTube. You can go find it. He put up a bunch of different versions that he saw on Twitter of just
this is
mayhem.
This is incredible. I really love this stuff. I saw somebody in the chat asking how a bug this big gets found this late in the game. The honest truth is
added, right?
It was either added or just never found.
It's a pretty obscure thing. So the original, the way that it was found from what I was told, and chat will probably correct me or say if this is correct. People capped their FPS at 30, limited the bandwidth that the game used to a certain threshold, and then had a third-party program slow the game's loading down so that when you go and craft a weapon, you would highlight the exotic weapon first with the exotic perk, and then swap over to the craftable weapon in the crafting system fast, and it would show the first gun's perk because it wouldn't load fast enough, and you have to hit accept so it just pushes through. So, like, I don't know how you find that, because that's insane. Like, that's an insane process to just, like, happen upon.
Stumble upon,
Yeah. And apparently it had been in the game for, like, 18 months or something.
Yeah.
When it was like first founded, no one really talked about it, and then it like popularized this past week and just spread through the entire game.
Yep. Wow. That's how this works. Like, I think that people often think that bugs are like these things that we could have just found.
Yeah, why didn't QA find that, Rami? What's your answer there, huh?
Well, I guess they were doing other shit. They were probably just not paying attention, right? Just
I think what it
watching
means is
Twitch
they're bad and
during
they
work.
should feel bad.
Yeah, they get
Yeah,
those
they're-
QA people are getting
they're-
paid too
yeah.
much. They really need.
Is there
to
any
look at
chance
their-
we can
yeah.
sue them?
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
really take them out. Yeah.
Yeah, their punishment is they all have to use Unity now. No, but
For eternity. That's it.
Yeah, the honest truth, like bugs are wild, mate. Like I you know that in certification for one specific console, there was a bug that you had to check for where you plugged and unplugged your controller really rapidly. You had to do that. You had to make sure your game didn't crash when you did that because apparently that cable for the controller, this is cable's controller era.
Yeah.
If there was a crack in it, it would sometimes just send like the connect disconnect really rapidly, and if that would crash the game, that was bad. So they had us sit there and just go like,
Wow.
with a controller. In some cases,
Yeah.
that wasn't every game.
I'm
like,
sure
that was
there's-
a
I'm sure there's 1,000 like horror stories of QA stuff that has popped up.
oh
that you
stuff
just
is
would
wild
never
sometimes.
Think about, yeah.
Absolutely, but like when you then hear the bugs that make it through, you're like, how did we not find that? And it's like, well, nobody was dumb enough to try that. It's like, oh, okay. Like very often it's just because we have an idea of how the game gets played, and QA is really good at ignoring their own sense of what the game is supposed to be and playing it as if they're somebody else, right? They're
Right.
super good. But even then, like people do the wildest stuff, man. Like sometimes I watch videos of people playing my games and I'm like, you what?
Yeah.
You know that Nuclear Thrones world records are all using a thing we added to stop people from continuing past it? We added an enemy that self-resurrects and drops lots of XP, but like unless all enemies in the level are dead at the same time, you can't continue to the next level. So we added an enemy that drops lots of XP, but not much health. So you're probably gonna die. And then you have to kill all of them at once, which is pretty much impossible. So you're definitely gonna die. We called them endgame fuckers. That's literally what we called them in code.
Uh-huh.
Turns out we added a weapon that uses XP as ammo. So yeah, turns out if you have that weapon,
Kind of works. Kind of helps.
you kind of wreck everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a thing we put together in them, and we weren't like, oh my god, okay, yeah. If we do that, and we were just watching. We were like, okay, loop 3, and they're never gonna get. Oh god, oh god, and then they were at loop 12. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
We kept it.
Someone in Agelian in chat says, look at Baldur's Gate 3. In the first week, there was 22,000 years of playtime. There's no way QA can compete with that. Like, kind of true. You can't. Like, how do you test for that? Kind of impossible.
QA are incredible. Yeah. And it's all the different configurations and the different computers and the different players and the different internet connections.
Yeah.
The different, like, computer speed. Like, that bug would have happened naturally to somebody who had Steam open, was playing on 30 FPS, was downloading something in the background, and was on a tricky satellite internet phone connection. That would have just happened naturally to them. I don't know who found this bug.
No, I don't think that there was anyone that claimed that they found it. Yeah.
But like that would have just happened naturally. Like I don't know, was it IGN that had that series for a while where they were showing
they had the developers? Yeah, that series is great. Yeah. I don't know why they stopped it. They might have just ran out of games or developers that were willing to just like watch their games be deconstructed in front of them. Because that's what it was. I forgot what that series was called, but it was really good. The speedrunners IGN stuff.
So often as developers, you're just watching people. Like sometimes I watch y'all playing games, and I'm just watching it. I'm like, "Well, the developer's not going to like that. Not going to like that." And sometimes you're like, "Oh, developer's going to be very amused by that." Like we're just often sitting there and just being like, "Oh no." It's like the most common feeling I have watching people play my games.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Well, we need to wrap up. Rami, we appreciate you coming on. We hope that we don't have to bring you back on to discuss the trials and tribulations of Unity, but Monday is a new day. So here in
20
about
cents per view.
here in about 15 hours, I'm sure we'll see what Unity has prepared. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just radio silent. I don't know. Well,
genuinely have no idea. Terrified though.
We'll figure it out.
I have a. You didn't ever answer my question, and I just want a definitive answer.
Okay.
Do I like for Indie Days? Do I actually like look and see what engine it's on, and don't buy and install the Unity ones?
Well, for now, just keep doing it. But yeah, like pay attention and like near the end of the year, if it hasn't updated,
because this all goes into effect the 1st of January, right? And
so the download count counts either way. So whether you download it now or louder, so the downloads count either way. They do lifetime counts, but they only affect if you have made over $200,000 and have over 200,000 downloads. Or January 1st. So your download does count against them right now.
Yeah.
But the games I usually play are nowhere near that shit at all.
I mean,
like 200,000, like
that's good. But like, if your video makes it that they reach that, you might
if you promote it. Basically, what he's saying is stop doing Indie Saturday.
No, seriously. Like I said, 17 of the 20 last games I played are on Unity. So like,
for now you're good. How about
let me know when I'm not good?
Figure out what
I don't want to participate in that bullshit.
I
don't want to have my hands dirty in this garbage.
But isn't this the wildest stuff that we're having a genuine conversation right now about whether you should play specific games? Well, basically, y'all's position in the games industry is also letting people know what stuff is good to play, like what stuff is interesting.
Well, if nothing else, it makes me like thank you for coming on and talking about all this stuff, so we have some idea about it.
Yeah,
it's a messy situation.
Well, what else? Rami, of the games that come out this year, and I know we're short on time, but what is Unity that comes out this year for the rest of the year?
Oh God, what is the list?
I'm looking at this one. I don't know if it's going to load for you.
Wait, let me see if I can find it somewhere.
There you go. I just pasted in the VMix call.
The VMix one? Okay. Let me find it.
Party Animals Unity?
That one might be.
That launches in 3 days. Will probably do well.
That does look like it. Might it be?
AC Mirage is probably not. Detective Pikachu Returns, is that Unity? Is Nintendo rocking Unity on their stuff?
Is it mobile?
Rogue Trader. December.
Rogue Trader is Unity? Jesus.
Yeah.
Honkai Star Rail launches on the 11th on PS5.
Oh, is Last Epoch Unity?
Probably.
Might be.
Sea of Stars, Silk Skull. What about City Skyline? I wonder if that's Unity.
Skyline's Unity or Unreal? I actually don't know by heart. Let me check. It's actually pretty likely Unity, isn't it?
God, there's a lot.
Yeah, no, City Skylines is Unity.
Fuck that. I mean, that game will be massive. It'll be huge.
Yep, let me see. C++ Sharp. Blah, blah. This might actually be Unity.
Okay. Jeez. Well, there's a lot.
Anyway,
Zeke, I know you
any of those games, do not touch. But for now, buy them, backlog them, treat them as if they're your normal Steam catalog.
Yeah. Jesus. Zeke, do some
and
shout
don't do Game Pass.
Don't do Game Pass.
No Game Pass. No Game Pass games.
To quote another game developer's tweet, I fucking hate it here. Oh, let's slap on a fake smile and plow through this shit. How about? My name is Ezekiel III. You can find me at /Ezekiel. Other way. Ezekiel_I on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Or Ezekiel III, all spelled out on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you to Rami for joining us. Cluing us in and depressing us totally. So thank you for that. Thank you to Co and JP for being co-hosts. I will be directly after this show. After I sign off here, I'm going over to twitch.tv/table story for my episode 2 of the Blade Runner tabletop role-playing game show that we've been doing. That is not powered by Unity. Woo!
Yet.
It is powered by imagination. Fuck you guys. God damn it. And on and tomorrow, just want to let you guys know, tomorrow I'm doing an odd Monday stream. I'm doing a sponsor stream with some folks, Co and Dan. We're gonna be playing some Void Crew co-op together tomorrow for a couple of hours. So
yeah, man.
I'll see you then. And then Tuesday I'll be playing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade from 1989 that I goddamn hope is not powered by Unity. But it probably is. Anyways.
I mean, I think Void Crew is Unity.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Void Crew is Unity.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Rami.
You're welcome.
Big thank you as always to JP and Zeke, and of course a big thank you to Rami. It was a pleasure to have you here explaining the ins and outs of why we should hate this. And yeah, thank you very much. My name is Co. I'm going to be playing more Lies of P. We're going to be doing more Starfield. We've got a big Cyberpunk run coming up that's not on Unity. And tomorrow is going to be Void Crew with Dan and Zeke, which I'm extremely excited about. Just all sorts of stuff. We're also going to be finishing the Mortal Kombat 1 story, which has been absolutely bonkers in Mortal Kombat style. So on that note, thank you everyone for watching. We will see you next week. And big thanks again to Rami.
Fantastic. Rami, do some shout outs. What do you got going on? Where can people check you out? What's happening?
I just regret so many things. Just don't download my games. I just bought a house, y'all. Just don't.
Short and sweet. That's it. We're done. Thanks for watching.
On that somber note, Zeke, can you fart or something? I don't know. We need not leave on the. We need like. Thank you.
Yay!
There we go. Great Unity impression. Thank you.
We'll see you guys. See you guys next week. We'll probably have a show. We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.